Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Knees Up, Eyes Up, Mother Brown. Not Knees Up, Mother Brown, Eyes Up, Mother Brown by Knees Up, Mother Brown. On this Monday evening, West Ham United versus Leicester City. United v City, the only one that counts. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Knees Up, Eyes Up, Mother Brown. Not Knees Up, Mother Brown, Eyes Up, Mother Brown. I'm talking to myself. I do that every week, every single week. One day I'll get used to that. Anyway, without further ado, let's crack on. I'm joined in the studio tonight by two stalwarts of Eyes Up Mother Brown. Firstly, let me introduce you to DL, who's back once again. How are you doing, DL?
Hello, I'm all good. Thank you very much.
Excellent, excellent. And joining us from a hotel room somewhere in the British Isles, at a location I can't possibly mention, is the Pink Palermo. How are you doing, Pinky?
Yeah, evening all. Yeah, I'm good, thank you, and really looking forward to tonight's game. I mean, you know, if you're not excited about tonight's match, you know, high-flying West Ham United against, I think, a pretty decent Leicester City team, then give up now. I mean, you need to get a mate to hold a mirror over your face to check you're still breathing, because this should be a humdinger tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah,
certainly should. We're going to get into it. We're about 4 minutes from kickoff, running fashionably late, as always. So we're going to go straight over to DL, who's going to give us the home and away teams for tonight's match. DL, over to you.
Okay, tonight we start the same as we did against Newcastle. We've got Lucas Fabianski in goal, Kufal, Dawson, Ogbonna and Cresswell at the back. Rice, who is the captain, Suchek, Bowen, Benrahma in midfield with Fornals and Antonio, our two forwards. On the bench, we've got Areola, Baptiste, Fredericks, Diop, Johnson, Coventry, club captain Mark Noble, Lanzini and Andre Yarmolenko. That is our subs bench. The Leicester team, I can't give you because I've only got the West Ham one up. So if you bear with me just a minute, if somebody can fill in, I will try and find it. I forgot that I really should look at the opposition as well. So where are we? Here we go. We've got some team news yet. And in goal is Kasper Schmeichel, Thomas, I'm not pronouncing that one, and Marty Pereira, and Didi, Tillmans, Perez, Madison, Barnes, and Jamie Vardy up front with Albrighton, Ward, Inacio Chowdhury, Dewsbury Hall, Prate, Castagni, or whatever his name is, Dakar, and some other bloke, I don't know because I've just pressed the wrong bloody button. Samare. So that's the Leicester lineup as well, but we don't care about the Leicester lineup because it's the rip-roaring, goal-scoring Hammers that are going to get the 3 points tonight.
Excellent. Not sure it's quite as polished as Gnome would usually read this out, but we got there in the end. I mean, you know, the info's the same, so we're all good. Pinky, predictions for tonight. What do we reckon? Going to be a close game?
Yeah, I think a close game, but I think West Ham United are going to come out 2-1 winners tonight. I think David Moyes has got the team really playing as a team. You know, I think we've got a very good first 11. I'm not sure we've got an awful lot of depth to come off the bench. And so the biggest risk tonight, I think, if you put Jamie Vardy aside, is us getting an early injury to maybe a centre-back, something of that nature. But I fancy us to win tonight, I think, in front of a full house, hopefully at the London Stadium. Let's go for it. Go for the win.
Excellent. 2-1 says Pinky. Dear, what are you thinking?
I'm going with 2-1, maybe 3-1, I think. Be nice if we could repeat last season. So yeah, I think we'll win. Maybe the confidence is a bit misplaced, but we shall see. Yeah, the only thing that does concern me is the lack of depth on the bench. I would have liked to have seen Okaflex on there.
Yeah.
Based on that, I put this on a forum earlier. Based on not really a lot, I've just got a good feeling about this guy.
Yeah,
I think he could be a little revelation, and we've got a Gnome just pop up as well.
We have our man on the spot, our man at the London Olympic Stadium tonight. Gnome once again. We had him at Newcastle last week. He's back again tonight, live from the stadium. Gnome, how are you doing? How's it looking down there?
Very, very crowded. There's queue must be best part of 100 yards long.
Okay. Looks like they must be fighting for broadband as well, because we seem to have
the typical London Stadium Wi-Fi connection.
We seem to have lost Gnome. While we wait to get him back, anyway, I'll give you my prediction. I'm going to go for a 3-2 West Ham win. I think it's going to be goals tonight. Oh, we've got Gnome back anyway. We've got his ear anyway. Yeah. There we go. There we go. There we go. How you doing, buddy? Can you hear us, Gnome? Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Are you inside the ground yet? Or are you still waiting in the
At the
queue?
moment, queues are sort of snaking round. The queue for turnstile B is about 100 yards long. I'm about 30 yards away from turnstile A. Now, I admit I've arrived late than usual today because I've been travelling all day, but doesn't look particularly well organised. Let's put it that way.
Purely, presumably, down to the checks at the gates, one would imagine.
I'm guessing so. I haven't got that far yet, and if my phone thing doesn't work, I should be somewhat miffed. Shall we?
I thought the checks were in midfield.
You're quite welcome to stay on the stream with us and enjoy our commentary, which is going to be really weird because you're at the stadium. Some of us are quite some considerable distance away, and we're going to be telling you what's going on a few yards away. But stay with us if you like.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? I suppose they're not delaying kick-off then.
Well, we've kicked off. I mean, I'm just kicked off on my stream, guys. Where are you? I'm 8 seconds in.
We're taking the knee.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to see a lot of my ear because I haven't got the right headphones for this phone, and I'm going to have to turn my head so I can just hear you. So,
no worries. Pinky, where are you on your stream, buddy?
They're just thinking about taking the knee.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right, I'm 30 seconds in now, so it looks like for some this could be a first actually on the Eyes Up Mother Brown stream. Looks like I've got the most advanced stream. So anyway, West Ham kicking from right to left as we look. Leicester playing in the away kit of I don't know what that is. Is that what they call cyan? I think and dark blue shorts, or is it or aquamarine or something like that? I'm not sure anyway. But we're just seeing Leicester on the break. Ball's played into West Ham's box. This is dangerous, actually. Craig Dawson chests the ball down to prevent the cross from coming in. There was a sort of slightly half-hearted call for a penalty. It was never a penalty. It was off his chest, but we've just seen the ball slung into the box again, and it's Dawson again heading it out for a throw-in to Leicester. Leicester look like they've, as I said, coming out the strongest. No, what's the atmosphere like out there? Is there any sort of are people a bit pissed off, really, not being able to get in? Or is it fairly good-natured? Don't think you can hear us. Okay, no worries.
Probably for the best.
We're just seeing Mickey Antonio racing through the centre now. He's, it's unfortunate. Tried to play the ball into Jarrod Bone, but they got their wires crossed a bit there. But better stuff from West Ham. DL, West Ham's team tonight. Any surprises in there? Is this really what you'd expect from David Moyes?
Yeah, exactly as expected. Exactly how we started last week.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody deserved to be dropped after last week. That second half was phenomenal. Let's hope we can repeat the same today because we need 3 points from this.
We certainly do.
We're going to harbour ambitions of finishing where we did last season.
Indeed. Pinky, Leicester's team. Some people said that was a little bit lucky to beat Wolves in the opening game, but of course this is the other team that's qualified for the Europa League this year. Who are you looking at really and thinking is the main threat for the Foxes tonight?
Well, I mean, there's two threats really. Jamie Vardy, obviously with his pace, but I think young James Maddison as well. I think he's a player who I think would be a very good West Ham United footballer. Yeah. Half in jest last week, whenever it was, I suggested we should try and unsettle him ahead of today's game with a cheeky bid. When they picked him up from Norwich, I think it was, I thought they got a bit of a steal, and so it's proven. I'm not sure he's completely settled at Leicester City, though. And whilst I say I was only in jest, if we actually had any money, he's definitely a footballer that I'll be saying to David Moyes, pick up the phone, chance your arm, because I think he can make things happen in the game of football. So tonight I'll be looking out for him. I think they're a touch like us in the sense that they've got a very good first team.
Yeah.
And maybe only one or two options off the bench, certainly on tonight's bench. A player who I fear maybe unnaturally is Mark Albrighton. I think he's hurt us, whether we're playing for Leicester or for Aston Villa. So I've seen him do damage against us on a number of occasions. So those three really, Maddison, Vardy and Albrighton off the bench, they're the ones I'll be concerned about.
Okay, good stuff. Just coming up to 4 minutes played. West Ham United 0, Leicester City 0. We're still waiting for our first shot of the game. Leicester looking to move down the left-hand side and attack West Ham, but nothing really happening. It's all pretty even exchanges so far, and it seems a case, deal of both teams sort of just feeding each other out right now in these opening exchanges.
It's typical early doors against two good teams at the end of the day. Not a lot's really happening. As you say, they're sussing each other out. Hopefully it livens up a bit. No really clear-cut chances. It's it's like a game of chess at the moment.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Pinky, we spoke last week about Said Benrahma, didn't we? You know, that we were saying as you were leaving St James's Park, but this was a player that I think we all were fairly critical of last year, felt that, you know, he was quite often making the wrong choices. Had a fear of repeating the conversation we did have last week, but for the benefit of those that weren't tuning in, we felt that he's been really strong so far in pre-season and was probably the best player on the field at Newcastle last week.
Yeah, I think so. I think my big criticism aside, last season really was his decision making, and that's at both ends of the field. I feel in the attacking third last season, he was trying to do a bit too much himself rather than actually use the players around him. And in our final third, I think he's a player that can make poor decisions. So he's a player though that if he gets it right in the right part of the field, he can excite, and that's what he did at Newcastle United last week. He played some sensational football, and that's not a word I use lightly. There was stacks of end product from Said Benrahma last week.
Yeah.
And if he can put a run of 4 or 5 games together where he's doing that fairly consistently, he's not going to do it every single week, but you know, if he can do that more often than not, then he might go some way to justifying his fee. So, you know, maybe a learning point for me there. You know, he's 25, 26 now. I thought maybe too late to learn, but the coaching staff have clearly helped him over the summer. So hats off to young Benrahma, or middle-aged Benrahma.
The first shot on target of the game. Declan Rice with a little driving run to the edge of the box. A little 1-2 with Bowen, I think it was, and Benrahma's made the keeper make a save. So positive start there.
Yeah, good timing. That's by us there. Benrahma, forcing the first save of the evening from Schmeichel in the 6th minute. Not really troubling him, but a little marker, shall we say, nonetheless. So we should say hello to everybody joining us on the live stream. Pretty quiet there at the moment, but to SH, Stevie Palmer, Polaroid, Hobo, and a chap called Mark White also joining us. So hello, you guys. Let us know what you think the score is going to be tonight. Let's have your predictions in the live chat there, and we'll see how many of you get it right. We're just having a look. I think that's Aaron Cresswell who's gone to deck. I must confess I wasn't looking at the stream while that happened. I'm just seeing the ball's played into him, and it's he's one of the Leicester players again. I'm not quite sure who that is because his back was turned. Oh, it's Ricardo. Seemed to go over the top of Aaron Cresswell. He's in a little bit of difficulty there. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet, Pinky.
No, not yet. No.
Okay. He's still receiving anyway. He's receiving treatment. David Moyes and his assistant just having a chat on the touchline, obviously trying to react to what they've seen so far. Not an awful lot to go by, really. We're nearly 8 minutes in. Cresswell still down receiving treatment. Said Benrahma comes over to the bench. The sidelines is about 60 yards from the bench. But Cresswell is back up anyway. Looks like it might have been a bit of a dig to the ribs there, I think, DL. He's just got up sort of holding his chest, walking a little bit gingerly, but I think he's okay anyway.
Yeah, it looked like he copped a whack in the ribs there, but he'll be all right. He's as hard as nails, as Cresswell. Although saying that, with his limp wrist there, he didn't look as hard as he normally does.
When you say walking gingerly, do you mean kind of like with a certain swag in knowing he's the best looking guy on the field? That kind of ginger? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, why not?
More like Ginger John, to be honest, the way he was walking there.
Another KUMB stalwart. Where is Ginger John, by the way? We haven't seen him on the forum for a while.
He's very active on Facebook, but he doesn't really go on the forum too much anymore. He's otherwise engaged with work and family and stuff like that. I think life's just taken over.
Fair enough.
He's bent appendages as well.
He's done what? Sorry.
And obviously he's bent appendages as well.
Good question being asked by Greg on the YouTube. Benrahma or Maddison? Okay.
Good question. Good question. Both of them. I don't know, there was rumours, wasn't there, Pinky, about Maddison going to Arsenal last week, but all that seems to have gone a little bit quiet considering they've spent 140 million on three. What was it? White, wasn't it, from Brighton? The Johnson from Albion. Who was the other one they've signed for a ridiculous amount of money?
Arsenal are the biggest spenders in the close season, and they're buying young players, which maybe in 3 managers' time that'll keep the manager in 3 managers' time in his job. It's not going to keep Mikel Arteta in his job, and that's always the thing. Maddison or Benrahma? For my money, I'd take Maddison. I don't think he's as how can I put it? Flash is the wrong word. As quite as creative, but I think he's possibly a bit more consistent and might be the slightly better player, but not as thrilling, if you get my drift. So you pay your money, you take your choice.
What do you reckon, DL? Maddison or Benrahma for you?
I don't know much about Maddison to make a judgment, to be honest. So I'll have to say Benrahma.
Okay.
That's based on ignorance, really.
Fair enough, and honesty, of course. I'm in a similar boat, to be fair. I mean, the only football I've seen Maddison play is what I generally watch on Match of the Day. Decent player, but we've got to go with our own man, haven't we, really? Benrahma sort of strikes me as Maddison maybe 12 months behind. I guess Maddison had that kind of bedding in period where he had to get used to the Premier League. But
I'll put it as Benrahma is your typical West Ham favourite.
Yeah,
Maddison would be your typical Tottenham Hotspur favourite.
Yeah. Well, there's the answer then.
Yeah.
I think Maddison would be one of those players that we get grief for signing him. People would go a bit bonkers, but then he'd shut everybody up, a bit like Dawson has. And even when we signed Lingard, people were going a bit mental that we'd signed him, and look how he turned out. One of those ones where you're like, I don't want him in my team, but when he is in your team, you realise how good he is.
11 minutes gone. West Ham United 0, Leicester City 0. I mean, the reason we're not bringing you a lot of information for the match is because, quite frankly, there isn't an awful lot happening so far. The ball's been floated around in the midfield for the last 5 or 6 minutes. Just trying to sort of get an eye on how we're sort of setting up tactically. Pinky, this is quite interesting. I mean, it looks to me like Benrahma's starting on the left tonight with Fornals more on the other side, which is, obviously not what we're used to.
Yeah, that's exactly how it looks to myself as well. And I don't know. I mean, maybe the idea is to have Benrahma cutting in from the flank and getting a shot off, that kind of thing. Who knows? I mean, I'll be honest. I think managers tend to tinker with tactics and shape a bit too often. I think they end up confusing themselves as well as the players. And I think that's more about want to be seen to be doing something. What do they work on in training all week? Kind of thing. Who knows? But that's certainly Benrahma starting out on further left today. Because I think from memory, last week at Newcastle, Antonio spent much of the first 20 minutes wide left. So certainly from memory.
West Ham have just picked up a free kick. Pablo Fornals, who we were just referring to as failed just outside the centre circle. West Ham with that free kick and now pushing into the Leicester half. Aaron Cresswell with the ball currently cuts inside, looks for options, not a lot on, so he plays it back to Craig Dawson. Dawson pulls it out wide on the right to Sufo, looks up, delivers across. It's cut into the edge of the 6-yard box, aimed towards Fornals, but it's cleared. Declan Rice picks it up on the outside of the box, has a dip, closed down as he does, and it drifts over the bar. But another chance for West Ham, DL, and I think that's 2-0 to us so far in terms of shots. None have really troubled Schmeichel, but if we're looking for small, signs of encouragement, I suppose that's all we've got really right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've got. I'm just seeing on my screen there. They just had a bit of a close up on Pablo Fornals, and we spoke last week about whether or not Benrahma had beefed up a little bit. I think certainly Pablo's had another long summer in the gym doing some weights on upper body work. He looks like he's got a bit of bulk up top now as well, which just working his strength and conditioning, which is good. That means the club can see with a player. put a plan together for them and improve them, which is nice to see. And that's Rice just blasting over, dare I say it, Obina style. There's a name from the past.
That was really apt. I like that. Yeah, it's absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
On my stream, we've got Leicester pushing forward, driving into the box, and the ball's played in, looking for Vardy, but cleared out by the Hammers again. We're in the 15th minute here, and just seen Pablo Fornells up and running. It just makes me think. You're talking about Ben Rama and Fornells there. You know, it just makes me wonder, DL. What would Alan Devonshire have done, you know, all playing in the Premier League these days? I mean, you know, do you think David Moyes would have had him on a treadmill and doing the weights, you know, in the gym through the summer?
No, I don't think he would have done. Devonshire was one of those players, but he weren't broken. I don't think he was so silky, he was so sublime. It was one of those things, he ain't broke, so don't try and fix it. He was, you know, he was. I think somebody like Devonshire would have absolutely excelled in the modern game. Absolutely excelled. He was way ahead. I think he was way ahead of his time. What he used to do on those cut-up pitches, the way he just used to glide and be able to cross a ball in was, I can't speak highly enough of him. I don't think that's through rose-tinted glasses and whatever. He really was a special player. And, you know, none of the players in this, apart from Declan maybe, are fit enough to lace his boots.
Michail Antonio's driven through the centre towards the Leicester goal, and unfortunately, as he does so often from distance, has shot quite tamely wide. Not really his fault. I mean, you know, he's really got an eye for goal lately, Pinky. But you know, you see that an awful lot, don't you, with Michail? You know, his long range shooting isn't exactly you know, anything to write home about, shall we say?
Well, funny enough, only last week, I think I was boring my fellow passengers in the car with Allardyce-esque stats on shooting from outside the box and the percentage chances and all the rest of it. I mean, the damage that man did, the fact that I even would know about such things in his time as manager for West Ham. But I mean, shooting from outside the box, when it goes in, we all love it. But do you know what? You know, it doesn't go in that often, does it? You know, it's got a percentage number next to it for a reason, and it doesn't really matter who's pulling the trigger. The pitch is designed and laid out the way it is for a reason. You know, there's nothing new in the game. You know, you're taking shots from 20. Oh dear Lord! I mean, Michail, please, I live nearer than that. I mean, it's just, you know, no.
Yeah.
I like to see Mickey getting in on the end of stuff where it hurts.
Yeah. 6
yards out, you're going to get hurt, son, but get your toe on it. That's where he's really, really effective.
DL, Michel Digard, one of our ex-team members, actually, one of our former moderators. We'll come back to that in a second because we've just seen Barnes drive into the box, but it's cleared to safety. West Ham, okay. Michelle asked, what about Sir Trev? We mentioned Alan Devonshire. What about Sir Trev? I mean, he was quite another silky player, but you know, not exactly stocky in his time. Obviously let Billy Bonds do all the dirty work, didn't he?
I put when was it? I think it must have been 2-3 years ago. I actually started a thread and got shot down about how would the team of 81 with Devonshire, Brooking and whatnot, how would they have done in the Premier League? Because again, players, I saw Brooking at the end of his career.
Yeah,
really. You know, when did he start playing? 64, was it? 65, something like that. Sure, someone to correct me in the comments.
Right, I can tell you his debut was 67. It was, and I think we drew 3 at Burnley, and our goal scorers were the 3 World Cup players.
Yeah,
but
that's right. That's right. So he was kind of at the end of his career when I watched him. But again, he was another one that was superb. That could just glide across those cut-up pitches.
Yeah.
And that team of 81 with him, Billy Bonds as the engine, Alvin Martin as the rock at the back as well. Where would that? How would that team have done in the modern day and age? I think it would have been like this team. I think.
Yeah.
It would have been that it was that good, but I think it was just it was ahead of its time at the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to cut in there for a second, Deal, because West Ham have the first corner of the game. Mickey Antonio winning it on the left-hand side. We're just entering the 20th minute, just waiting for the cross to come over. Souček and Dawson lining up in the box. It's coming towards the near post. It's an in-swinger, and it's headed straight out. No trouble there. Leicester looking to counter here, but that's a great tackle from Fornals, who finds Declan Rice, and I'm not quite sure what's happened there, whether a free kick's been given. Yeah, I think Fornals has been penalised for a purported foul on Maddison. Didn't really see anything at all wrong with that, but not quite sure at all. I think maybe pulled his shot. I don't know. Anyway, it's a free kick to Leicester, and it all comes to nothing. Just coming up to 20 minutes in. I'm presuming, Pinky, that Gnome has got into the stadium now. We've not, either that or he's been thrown out. We've not heard from him since he was in the queue about 15 minutes ago.
No, I mean, frankly, I mean, I'll come in there. I know you asked Gnome about where he was in the queue and all the rest of it. Okay, where I sit, the tickets aren't cheap. If I'd been in a 100-yard queue 5 minutes before kickoff, or
Yeah.
you know, even after the game started, I'd be livid. And you know, I know the clubs and the authorities say they haven't had much time to prepare and blah 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 blah. This is a weekday, yeah, and I'm afraid, you know, they should have had a look at it and said to Sky, we'll delay the kickoff by 15 minutes, whatever it may be, just to give that extra little bit.
Yeah,
because people do get anxious. That's when the trouble, the aggro starts. And people have paid a lot of money to go and watch a game of football tonight, and they want to see 90 minutes. They don't want to see 75. So I hope he's got in, but I think the authorities really need to have a proper think about how they're organising all this, because at the end of the day, I've travelled today from Essex to, you know, a different country, and it's just, you know, why is football still trying to enforce things in a particular way? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Just go on the London Underground. That's what's really going on. That's the reality.
Yeah, I mean, it interested me actually. I was looking at the information before the game from Hammers Help, and they were advising everyone to get into the ground at least an hour before kickoff. And I was sitting there thinking, you know, I can't remember ever getting into a ground an hour before kickoff, perhaps for a cup final or something like that, where you wanted to enjoy the build up. But yeah, I mean, I guess, as you say, I mean, it's a work day. A lot of people are going to be coming straight from work, simply won't have the opportunity to do that. So yeah, certainly lessons need to be
And
learned.
without putting out old scabs and what have you too much.
Yeah,
you know, the London Stadium isn't exactly the best stadium that you want to get to that early anyway.
well, exactly.
I mean, let's be frank. It's not the most hospitable place. The walk from the station, nobody enjoys. You know, we've been saying this for 5-6 years now, and it isn't a great experience. So people are going there, not quite grudgingly, but believe you me, unless West Ham United were playing, none of those people are going to that stadium for fun. Yeah, that's for sure. And so for my money, I think they really need to get their act together so that supporters can turn up, you know, 35 minutes before kickoff, whatever it is, get into the stadium and take their seats. What are they checking for, and who are they checking for? You know, who are they checking it for? I don't get it. 60,000 people, give it up.
We're halfway through the first half. West Ham United 0, Leicester City 0. West Ham 2 shots so far. Ben Rama in the 6th minute. 3 shots, sorry. Declan Rice in the 13th minute and Michael Antonio in the 16th minute. Leicester yet to provide a shot at goal, although I believe there may be one coming imminently from what I'm reading on Twitter. But Steve Palmer, thank you for pointing out the foul a few minutes ago against Fornals was for a shirt pull. Thank you for confirmation. Hello to Mark English joining us live on the stream. Yeah, as I said, halfway through a deal, you know, it's an unusual one. You know, we were kind of expecting a lot of action tonight, I think, weren't we? And perhaps plenty of goals, but it's been very, very cagey so far, hasn't it?
It's what happens when you're a big team playing another big team, isn't it? Maybe it's just a sign of the times where we're kind of, both us and Leicester, have got similar priorities. We don't want to lose the game. Very much Allardyce respect the point at the moment, isn't it? Neither team's really got anything particularly clear cut. But it's still early doors. It is still early doors. Let's see if we can continue our rich vein of form in the second half that we did last week. It's not going to be one at the moment for the memory banks, is it? It's kind of just going by. Nothing of significance.
Hopefully,
although Antonio's looking very sweaty, but he does that anyway.
I think, before he's even started. West Ham looking to build on the left-hand side. Saeed Benrahma swinging across from the left. As we said, he's starting on the left tonight, swung across into the area. It comes to nothing yet again. Leicester, several men behind the ball. I've just seen the referee almost get tricked by a Leicester player, which is probably the most interesting thing that's happened so far tonight out there. But yeah, I mean, Pinky, very, very quiet, isn't it, so far? Are you expecting a bit more?
Yeah, and dare I say it, we touched on, a couple of former players 2 or 3 minutes ago, Alvin Martin being one, the great Alvin Martin, should I say, and Billy Bonds another. If ever a team called out as we are right now for a player with a bit of bite in the tackle, because both sides here tonight, it's almost a training session kind of feel about it.
And here's a chance for West Ham. Oh, we've scored! Just there, we're just saying nothing's happened. Saeed Benrahma down the left-hand side, pulls the ball back into the penalty area. Pablo Fornals getting on the end of it. I think he's mishit it, actually. It didn't look like he called it cleanly, but it's code away from
lovely. Cheeky,
into the far corner,
there.
and DL, West Ham are in the lead. Great stuff.
Well, it was a nice bit of play. Oh, look at his face. Oh, I love Pablo. Gonna have gone to a nicer bloke. Brilliant. It was a bit cheeky. He meant that. That was a cheeky little back heel flick there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just watching it again, the ball played in. Yeah, he did catch it cleanly. It's my mistake. I thought he'd mishit it, but all stemmed, Pinky, from Declan Rice picking the pocket of a Leicester player at the other end of the pitch, of course.
Absolutely. I mean, about 5 yards inside a half, Declan Rice intercepted a ball. And if you want to know how David Moyes has transformed West Ham United, one word, transition. I know it's a trendy word and all the rest of it, but the speed with which we went from a defensive position there to moving the ball forward quickly, 2 or 3 very quick passes, players pouring forward, and a really sweet finish from Pablo Fornals on the end of that. Terrific goal.
Beautiful.
And if people want to see what Declan Rice does for a football team, watch that goal. Just watch that goal, because do you know what? He did one last week as well, where he won a clean challenge, and I think 4 passes later would score a goal. Same again tonight. And that's what a player in Rice's position can do for you. And I'm just looking at this, the goal again here. Oh, yes. Get in.
Great finish.
Terrific. And, good ball across from Benrahma, tucked away by Fornals. I mean, that is a terrific finish. And do you know what? Even Bowen there, following up, had the keeper somehow managed to get a hand to it.
Yep.
Bowen's exactly in the right place to say, do you know what? I'll have some of that. So
we've woken up now. We've woken up. We're playing some nice stuff. Gave it away there, though.
It was Jamie Vardy, who got pickpocketed by Declan Rice in the that started that move. And Dio, we were talking about him, weren't we? Saeed Benrahma saying what a great pre-season he's had. Excellent at Newcastle last week. There he is again, yet another assist. Great stuff.
He's making me eat my words from last season, but I'm happy to. I'm not one of these ones that's ever has a knife out for a player. Last season, I thought he could do a lot better. And I didn't think he was the right player for us, but he's making me eat my words. That's only 2 games in.
Also,
1.5 games in.
Yes, of course, still a long way to go. Just pause for a second there, because Benrahma's on the ball again, some 40 yards from goal. Finds Fornals to his right, who plays it short to Bowen. A little 1-2, looks up, and he's got options out wide. He's looked to play. It's a great little ball. He slips into Soufal. Soufal chips the ball back into the area, and it's a diving header clear, but West Ham regain possession with Fornals. He's put it in the box again. Oh, and that's close. That's close. It's Thomas Souček rising at the near post to connect to Pablo Fornals' centre. And I dare say Schmeichel was beaten. If that's going to creep inside the near post, that's going in the net. But Yeah, Souček getting above two defenders there to get on the end of that header and nod it inches. Looked like inches wide. It's probably a few feet wide in reality, but another great chance. Just coming back to that, actually, following on from what DL said there, Pinky. Credit also to David Moyes. He's put Said Benrahma out on the left tonight, and that's where the goals come from.
Yeah, and to be fair, you know, managers live or die by their decisions. I'll never be convinced that Benrahma's the player that David Moyes wanted, but in fairness to Moyes, he said, "Well, he's the player I've got.
Yeah,
and if he does the business, he'll get picked, and if he does the business, I'll pick him again." And what more can a player ask for? You know, because it's not the player's fault as to how he ended up at West Ham United, and I think full marks to the manager for being big enough to say, "Well, I'll have a look at him," so to speak. Again, that was a close one there from Tommy Souček. I mean, the big thing for me here tonight, Fabianski. I mean, may as well be smoking a cigar on a deck chair.
Funny you should say that, because Leicester have just had their best chance of the night. Fabianski was a passenger. Nothing he could do about it, but it was a short pass played just to the right of the.
To put his cigar down.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to see who it was. It's Ricardo who's had the shot. I mean, he's no more than 6 yards from goal, just on the right side of the 6-yard box. But is it slice or a hook? I can never remember. I was never much of a golfer, but whatever one it was, he's done that, and it's gone horribly wide of the post. And Fabianski, like the rest of his teammates, I would imagine, breathes a sigh of relief. But DL, Leicester's first chance of the game, that one, and they've waited half an hour for it.
They have, and it weren't a particularly convincing chance either. What could he have done apart from just try to blast it, which is what he did, and it went how it was expected, really. Yeah. We've not really given them a sniff, have we? They're having to resort to trying to blast it in from tricky angles. Good defending.
Said Benrahma's stats so far this season: 2 starts, 2 assists, and 1 goal. Coming from the left and the right side.
I'm going to criticise Benrahma a little bit here now.
Okay.
Because having worked hard to get back to try and prevent the cross coming in, the ball was squared back, that he just let his man carry on running, and it was his man that actually went into the box and put it wide. Benrahma switched off. And that's what I said earlier. That final third of our end of the field needs to be a little bit smarter, a little bit more switched on. And it's not unusual in players of his type, you know, attacking-minded players. Yeah. I think they tend to get a bit nervous in defensive duties. And who knows, maybe the manager has told him, stay out of the box because all you're going to do is give away the penalty. But it was his man that he just let him go. And a bit disappointed that from side.
Good observation there from Pinky. But we are 32 minutes gone in the game. West Ham United leading Leicester City in this battle of the Europa League qualifiers by 1-0 to 0. The goal coming in the 24th minute from Pablo Fornals, a superb finish from a great cross from Said Benrahma from a move which all started with Declan Rice picking the pocket of Jamie Vardy inside West Ham's own half. The Hammers catching Leicester on the break, as they've done so, well, not just Leicester, but everybody, so much in the last few months with this excellent team that we seem to be producing. West Ham on the back foot a little bit now. We're just seeing Declan Rice throwing up his arms in frustration a little bit. A chance here for Leicester. It's wasted. It's an opportunity for Perez, the former Newcastle man. The ball played back into him. Declan Rice actually won the ball again, some 25 yards from goal. And the ball just fell straight to a Leicester player. And Declan Rice, as I said, looking a little bit frustrated, waving his arms in the air. But it's just one of those things. It wasn't anyone's fault. It was just the way the ball fell. But Perez, with the opportunity, just again screwing his shot wide. Again, a really poor contact on the ball. But a couple of chances, DL, for Leicester since West Ham scored. I guess that's inevitable, really, isn't it? When you've just taken the lead, it's human nature to perhaps take your foot off the gas a little bit.
I don't think he's taking the foot off the gas per se. When Declan Rice won the ball back, to be honest, I think Benrahma was caught a little bit flat-footed. Yeah. I don't think he was expecting the ball to come to him, and that's why the Leicester player got it. But he needs to remember he's playing with a Rolls Royce of a player called Declan Rice. 9 times out of 10, he will make the tackle, and he'll get the ball off of him. It's interesting to see the chances that Leicester have had, though. They've not exactly been clear-cut. And there's a reason for that. We're defending well. We're not giving them the opportunity. We've had the blast shot into the side netting and that shot wide. We're stopping them from having the full-blown chance. And that's all they're reduced to at the moment. And let's hope we can keep it that way.
Yes, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, dare I say it, there appears to be some, well, I could scarcely believe I'm going to say this, but some proper coaching being done at the club. And the players are actually listening and playing to a game plan, because a couple of minutes ago, we had Leicester passing the ball along their back line for about a minute and a quarter, because they couldn't actually see a through ball anywhere. Yep. None of our players made an attempt to get within 10 yards of any of the Leicester players in the back line. They were just saying, well, yeah, play square passes to each other all night, lads, because we're a goal in front. And we knew as soon as they made the pass, and one of those three players was not going to be a good enough pass of the ball, Rice just went and intercepted it straight away. And that's a clear bit of game plan that the players are following there. It's not an accident. They've had it drilled into them. Let certain Leicester City players have the ball because they can't hurt you with it. Don't go and chase it down. And it's good stuff from West Ham.
More good stuff for the Hammers just then. Jared Bowen doing incredibly well to win a corner, which he himself took, sent into the box, and Craig Dawson was first on the end of. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get a perfect connection on it. In fact, he was probably put off by Angelo Ogbonna more than any Leicester defender, and nodded it just wide. But it's another effort for West Ham, and DL, these shots beginning to pile up now for the Hammers.
They are indeed. Yeah, not much more I could say. Very sorry, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat just as you came to me there. Yeah, we're doing all right. I mean, do you know what I find very different about this team compared to other teams is we're good to watch, aren't we?
Yeah. We're
actually very enjoyable to watch. We're on the front foot. And when we're not, we just look so organised, which is not, this don't look like the West Ham team. It's, usually when we're ahead of the game, you're just waiting to concede. But, oh, God, I'm going to put the muckers on it. But at the moment, we don't look like conceding. And if we do, it's going to be some kind of screamer or an absolute ricket. It's not. Yeah, I'm going to shut up now so I don't jinx us.
Well, Michael Antonio's driving towards the box, and a little bit slow there, unfortunately, dispossessed just as he was looking to take aim. But more good stuff from the Hammers as they were pushing forward there. Here's a little stat for you, chaps. Pablo Fornals has scored 3 goals in his last 3 Premier League appearances for the Hammers, which coincidentally is as many as he managed in his previous 43 games for the club. So more good stuff, Pinky, for the Hammers. Another positive stat. Full of them tonight here, aren't we?
Yeah, they've just put up the most touches of players tonight. And the 3 Leicester defenders have had the most touches this evening. And I saw those little square passes they're playing to each other because none of them are confident enough to play the ball forward. A bit disappointingly, a couple of the players stepped out of the line to try and press them a little bit. And I feel that would be a mistake. But what I'm seeing now, Antonio going forward, standing off him, and he's dispossessed. But, again, we look comfortable here tonight. We really do. And this is, the all-conquering Leicester City team that's been very well invested, very well-run club, Leicester City. I think they've probably got a chairman that would be the envy of most clubs. He writes the checks and keeps his gob shut. That was a hint, Mr. Sullivan. And, I think we're doing some good stuff here tonight.
Well, someone who's not doing particularly good stuff is Harvey Barnes. And now this is an interesting one. Aaron Cresswell won the ball, which was picked up by Pablo Fornals. And as Fornals picked the ball up, Barnes has basically stamped on his ankle. Now, it doesn't look like there's any VAR check, but Michael Oliver sort of looked at the decision and looked at the incident, and waved play on. But it looked very, very naughty to me, that one. Dio, I'm guessing from that. But we do have a VAR check, so this is interesting because I think if this goes to VAR, we might see a red card here, Dio.
We might do that. That was shocking.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful.
That could have easily been a broken leg or ankle. Yeah.
Oh, he's nowhere near the ball.
That's no exaggeration. That we've seen that happen before. We've seen legs break Oh,
Michael
Jesus,
Oliver.
yeah.
Oliver is now going to the sideline to look at the screen. This is going to be a red card. I'm absolutely
It
certain he's
can't
going to
be
walk
anything
here.
else. It can't
No,
be anything else.
gotta walk.
It's absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, it makes me wince every time I see it.
Yeah, it's an ankle breaker potentially, and I'm not sure it was particularly done purposefully, but I mean, well, there's a steal there. You can see it, and he's almost bending his ankle back the other way, and he's going to walk it. There's no question that he's going to walk. Michael Oliver's walking back to the pitch, reaching into his back pocket. There's the red card, and Leicester are down to 10 men. Pinky.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in back of the day, that wouldn't have been a booking. And what are you on about, you lot? What are you on about? You know, it's you know, surely everyone's had, you know, a 10 stone or 11 stone player standing with the full weight of their foot on your ankle when it's in an unnatural position. It's part of the game, isn't it? I mean, it's a nailed on red. It's got to be. And
Yeah.
To be fair, this is a good use of VAR because, that's I don't think it was done maliciously. I don't think it's a stamp in the sense of I nearly named another player there, but you know, someone's lawyers will be watching somewhere. That should we say certain players may have been famous for, but it is a very clumsy, careless, and reckless challenge. And yeah, straight red.
Not quite sure what's going on here, Deal. There's an awful lot of arguing coming from the Leicester team. Schmeichel is getting involved. One of the Leicester coaches appears to have just gone onto the field to drag Perez off the pitch. Maddison's absolutely furious at what he's seen. But I think what they're actually arguing here, and this is just my interpretation, and it could be completely wrong, but I think they're arguing that it was a foul by Cresswell in the first place prior to that incident. I think they felt that that Perez was foul. Apologies, by the way, it was Perez. I said Barnes, but it's Perez. What do you think of that, Dio?
Regardless, he still made the challenge.
Yeah,
he still done it. He still went studs in, full blown on the opposition on player's ankle. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it was a foul by Cresswell. He still did it. So you put Cresswell if they want to go down that road, but no, you can't go stamping on somebody's ankle like that. As I said just now, we've seen people's legs and ankles go with those challenges. It wasn't pretty. Suck it up.
Is that is that accidental? Do you think by Perez, DL? Do you think that's just a little bit of he's done it deliberately, just got a bit frustrated at losing the ball and sort of lashed out?
Get a bit of exuberance. I don't think he's intended to do almost an ankle breaker, but by the same token, he has gone in a bit strong. He's trying to make a point, I think, and it's gone wrong for him. But I'm shedding no tears.
I'm not sure any of us are, and I'm not sure any of us would have believed that we might be in this situation. Pinky, here we are, 3 minutes to go of regulation time in the first half. West Ham leading Leicester City 1-0, and Leicester have got to play the rest of the match with only 10 men.
Well, no, point of order, Squire. You asked 3 people what the score was going to be, and 3 people predicted a West Ham United win. So let's not go back to the West Ham United, little old West Ham. You know, we're lucky to even be allowed a game of football. You know, doffing our cap at everybody. We're a good football team at the minute, and we've had a good season. You know, the last sort of 12 months, and we've started this season well. And I think, do you know what? I think we've proven tonight on the balance of chances. We're worthy, of our lead. Do I think that Leicester would actually get a player sent off? Well, not since Wes Morgan retired, but he'd have been more of your candidate. But do you know what? It's the way of it. That was a nasty, nasty challenge. And as much as I criticised VAR last season, they got it absolutely right. And Michael Oliver going across to the screen to have a look, that's what it was there for. Good decision.
West Ham have just had a really good chance. Leicester losing possession in their own box. Pablo Fornals picking the ball up, touching it off to Michail Antonio. We just couldn't get a shot away, unfortunately. But West Ham really trying to put the pressure on now. And, another goal. before half time would be quite wonderful, wouldn't it, DL? And surely, you know, would give Leicester a mountain to climb in the second half. They haven't.
Oh, it'd
already
be
got one.
beautiful if we get another goal. But again, I know Steve Palmer in the comments told me to shut up after my last conversation about our defence and that they don't look like scoring. They still don't. What are they doing? Even before the sending off, they've not threatened us.
Yeah,
they've not threatened us. If we keep this up, we're going to have an easy 2-3-0 win here. Dare I say?
You tempting fate, but
I am. But never underestimate a team with 10 men.
Well,
Never
of course, you know. I was just seeing the ball, Mikhail, and there's a real chance that it's wasted. The ball was crossed from the right-hand side, dropped to Mikhail Antonio. Had the goal at his mercy, actually, but almost Colton Cole-esque. Had too much time and just got a little bit flustered. I'm just watching again, not quite sure what happened. He sort of chested it down, and I don't know. He actually
it looked like it came off his hand. To be honest,
here we go. Well, I'm seeing a close-up now. It's come. Oh, it's actually hit him square on the forehead.
Oh, I thought it came off his head.
I think it's
angled in.
No, it's come off his forehead, and he's got it completely wrong. Just seeing the other chance where Fornell's, and again Antonio played in. And I think they might be looking at that, wondering whether that might have been a penalty for West Ham.
The Leicester player handballed it.
Yeah, well, we're looking at that one there, and there's no VAR check, but. Pinky, I don't know if you've seen that. There was quite a lot going on in that 2-minute spell, but it looks like West Ham might have been a bit unlucky there.
Yeah, but I think Antonio, you know, we've just seen a close up at his expression there. He knows he's got to do a little bit better there. I mean, it's a handball by the Leicester player. You know, let's not muck around. You know, although to be fair to the Leicester player, he didn't know anything about that.
No,
I mean, you know, it's a handball, but not a penalty, dare I say it. But yeah, we're just nicking the ball off Leicester players' feet time and time again. We're a bit sharper. You know, again, I mean, I don't know. Have they got the players fit or something? I mean, this almost looks like a vindication of a policy of buying some youthful players in the middle of the park. They've actually got some energy. You know, it almost looks like there's a recruitment plan being put together at some stage in the last year or two.
What are these things of which you speak?
What recruitment
plan? What is this?
Yeah.
We've got a free kick. Bowen drifts one in from the right-hand side. It's Vardy. The ball's come off last, so West Ham have another corner. We've got 4 minutes added on here, so we'll just stick with this for a second. If I may play Gnome briefly. Because this is usually his bag, of course, the corners. It's going to come from the right-hand side as we look at it. Jarrod Bowen, no doubt, is going to take this one again. Leicester look all at sea at the moment, and I'm sure be praying for that half-time whistle to go. Corner drifted into the near post. Vardy's on it first. It's not cleared properly. Declan Rice yet again in there to steal the ball back, and well, that's a little bit unfortunate. He's been penalised for. Well, I'm not quite sure what Tielemans is the man down and pretending he's injured, and Declan Rice goes over to him and plucks him off the ground. Brendan Rodgers is busy writing down notes into his tiny little pad. I've
just seen that. No, he's fallen over there, isn't he?
Tielemans.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't look much in it, did it? But. Here we go. Last couple of minutes of the half. West Ham absolutely in control at the moment, Pinky, and probably don't want the half to end the way things are going.
No, very, very much so. But, you know, I can exclusively reveal it's going to be a 20-minute half-time break because we'll need at least amount of time for Gnome to comment on the refereeing decision. That's sort of, going to be the big talking point at half-time. So, so I think 15 minutes wouldn't allow him to do it justice. But I mean, Rice on 3 or 4 occasions in this first half has made crucial interceptions, stroke challenges that have just created the turnover and got us going from a defensive mindset to move the game forward again. And he's just adding to his fee with every minute he's on the field. Dare I say it? Other clubs will be looking at that now, wincing and going, he's better than what we've got. you know, and I'm talking about clubs that are regular Champions League clubs and not just in this country either. He is a superstar, and he had a great second half last week, and he's having a terrific first half this.
It certainly is. We're just waiting for and there is the half-time whistle, in fact, and the team's going to the break. West Ham United leading Leicester City by that 24th minute Pablo Fornals goal, excuse me. But of course, that wasn't the big story of the half, which was, in fact, the red card for Perez, 5 minutes ahead of the half-time interval. Michael Oliver is trudging off now to down the tunnel, and looks like he's going to be approached by a couple of Leicester players. But yeah, that's the story of the first half. West Ham leading 1-0. Pablo Fornals the scorer. Perez off for Leicester. Leicester will have to play the rest of the match with 10 men. Pinky, how do you sum up what you've seen so far?
A very comfortable performance by West Ham United, playing to a good game plan. Players know their jobs. The coaching staff have set them up brilliantly tonight. And you've got a couple of players, Rice and Souček, utterly controlling the middle of the park, in my opinion. And we are looking well in command here. Obviously, now with the extra man, they'll all be receiving instructions now at half-time, which will be spread the ball from flank to flank, put some miles in the legs of the Leicester players, and really tire them out. And dare I say, we may see a second or third goal in the last 10 minutes of this game. So I think a very good first half from West Ham. I mean, this, if you're not enjoying watching this, give up, because this. I wouldn't say it's as good as it gets with West Ham. I've seen, we've all seen better, but not for a good while. And this is good stuff from West Ham.
Yeah, it really is an excellent first half. We started a bit quietly, didn't we? But the Hammers soon got into the swing of things. A few shots early on. Ben Rama and Rice and Antonio all had efforts in the first 15, 16 minutes. Didn't really trouble the goal, but it sort of set the pattern, didn't it, really, for the rest of the first half? Of course, breaking the deadlock. And let's talk about that goal quickly, Pinky, if we may. Looks like we've got Gnome just about to join us. Or no, he's gone again. So maybe we'll get Gnome back again soon. But yeah, let's just have a quick chat about that goal. As we said, David Moyes switching things around a little bit, playing Said Ben Rama on the left-hand side tonight. Fornals sort of more central towards the right. But that's the side that the goal came from. Said Ben Rama, another assist. Excellent form so far in pre-season and last week. Done it again tonight, ball in. What about that finish from Pablo Fornals?
I mean, a very classy finish. But take it from when Declan Rice won the ball, 5 yards or so inside our own half. He didn't just stand and say, "Look at me, mum, I've won a tackle or a challenge." Instantly, he's released, three players who was bombing forward. As soon as they saw Rice had picked up possession, three players, they didn't hang around. They were off out of their blocks, pouring forward, and kept their shape well, made sure that there was plenty of width to the attack. Ben Rama eventually put the ball across, exactly the right spot. And Pablo Fornals, running on, doesn't break his stride. Lovely, finish into the far post. And best of all, for my money, we still saw Jared Bowen still following in. Had the keeper managed to get a hand to it, would have still scored because Bowen was following up. But the speed with which we've gone from a defensive shape to an attacking shape there is the absolute secret to it. And that's the trademark of this David Moyes team, just turning defence into attack in the blink of an eye. And when you've got players the calibre of Ben Rama and Bowen and Antonio pouring forward, there aren't many teams that can handle that. There really aren't. There's goals in any of those players. And tonight it happened to be Fornals that are coming up and buried it. But I fancy tonight, before we see the full-time whistle blow, I think we'll see at least one more goal, maybe two. And dare I say it, I've just got a feeling Rice from 20 yards, a pile driver. I think he's going to hammer one and absolutely kill the game.
Well, let's hope so. As we were saying, it's been a while since we managed to see a goal from outside the box. We've had plenty of chances. Gnome is sort of, we've kind of got him. He seems to be having problems, the kind of which you have expected over the years at the London Olympic Stadium. We don't seem to be able to get him quite on stream, but we'll hopefully. I can kind of hear him. No, I can sort of hear. No,
Can you hear me? Can you hear
I
me,
can hear
Mother?
you.
I'm doing audio only on the grounds that
Okay.
I have to keep putting my ear to the phone, and the ear's not my best sight.
Okay. We yes, we can hear you. So we were just talking about the obviously two standout incidents. No, first of all, when did you get in? How much of the game did you miss?
Just after I finished talking to you last time, everything started to move.
Okay. No, gnomes. Okay, well, it sounds like Gnome is still there, but I'm sure, as you can hear in the background, either I'm on slow motion or
about 8 minutes, 8 minutes and a half minutes.
Gnome, are you with us? Can you hear us? Okay. Gnome's gone. The string's gone down. I mean, Pinky, could you make head or tail of what he was saying there, apart from
typical sort of Gnome soliloquy there? I mean, I think he was just reciting the Brando bit from Apocalypse Now, but so he'll still be going on full time. But
yeah,
they've just bunged a stat up on screen, something like goals from fast breaks. I don't know. That's a new measure that someone's invented. And we're top of it, seemingly, with 8 goals from fast breaks. I don't know our time frame, but you know, basically, I think they're just making the point there that just, you know, the speed that we are actually pouring forward when we do attack. You know, the talking point, the red card.
Yes.
I've been having a look at Fox's chat, which is a Leicester City supporters website, and in fairness, what I call the more should we say, coherent members of that site are being very clear. They're saying it's a red card all day long. No arguments whatsoever. You know, much the same feeling that we were saying, not a huge amount of malice attached, but sufficient to say that's a challenge that can't go unrewarded with a red. So, you know,
no question.
There you go. Just as I say that, there's a guy there that's got the an avatar of the guy from, you know, what's that film, Wayne's World? Yeah, and he's going, I feel very angry about that red card, dude. He doesn't actually say dude, but, you know, he may as well have. At no point does Perez look at the player or check his stumble from the initial West Ham challenge. Shocking decision, Perez's first ever red, and is practically in tears as he left the pitch, which says it all. Well, actually, to MPH of Fox's chat, let me say this. The player who would have been in tears would have been Pablo Fornals, had he actually received a serious injury there. And that was such a bad challenge, that could have been a career ender. I prefer the comment from their poster, Beachy, who's made it very clear. Intent is nowhere in the rules for serious foul play red cards. A tackle or challenge that endangers the safety of an opponent or uses excessive force or brutality must be sanctioned as serious foul player. Any player who lunges at an opponent in challenging for the ball from the front, from the side, or from behind using one or both legs with excessive force or endangers the safety of an opponent is guilty of serious foul play. Open and shut case. Red card all day long.
No question, no question. Sorry, Pinky, I was just laughing at some of the replies to Gnome's interpretation of the first half there. Spencer Neal saying that Gnome sounds like a Yes album. Rafi says he's had too many, and Nick Forbert simply saying, well said, Gnome, which was pretty good, really. Rafi, good analysis, to be fair. And Hobo again saying that's easy for you to say, Gnome. But Gnome is here. Gnome, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, and I'll take all the insults, apart from the Yes album, which obviously is the biggest compliment I could be given.
Let's look. It'll be interesting. So we didn't quite hear how long it was you're in the queue for. You just you sort of cut off there. But anyway, let's get on to what happened in the game. Two big incidents. First of all, the goal. Your view of the goal from where you were sitting.
Got a great view of it. It was a beautiful sweeping move, and it's a fantastic, fine goal. I'm just wondering, it looked from this angle that Fornals did his usual, not quite hitting it cleanly. And you know when he hits it cleanly, it goes anywhere else but in the goal. But when he mishits it, he always scores. So you've obviously seen all the replays. Was I right in that? Did he sort of scuff it a little?
Well, no. Interestingly, I felt when I first saw it that he'd scuffed it, but no. When we saw the replay, it was directed exactly where he meant it to go. It was a really fantastic effort. But, yeah, but great stuff anyway. And of course, the other big incident in that first half was the red card. Did it look really bad from where you were sitting? What was the reaction of the crowd?
Well, we all thought it was a foul.
Right.
And, I mean, Fornals was down. And my first thought was, well, clearly it was a foul because the Leicester player knew Fornals was injured because he kicked it out.
Yeah.
And, we weren't sort of thinking red card until at that point the VAR thing came up, and then they did actually show the incident.
We
on
saw
the
that.
big screen, and when you saw it on the big screen, and I also had a sneaky look at Sky as well on my phone here. And I mean, I just heard the tail end of Pinky's word perfect rendition of the rules of the game, and having seen that, he's he may be upset and all that, and he may have been slight bit of accident in there, but it's a red card as the laws of the game stand.
Yeah, no question. I don't think anyone would really have any issue with that. So, are you pleased with what you've seen? I mean, is the crowd really happy? Everyone pleased around you with what they've seen so far?
It's a fairly contented crowd at the moment. Early on, I was a little bit worried about the stuff that was coming down our right-hand side. That seemed to be their main attack, but that seemed to sort of die out a little bit, and we look good on the ball. I prefer us having the ball than not having it, having seen this last week up north there. So, but of course, the fact they're down to 10 men may well change a bit of complexion on the game and give us a little bit more, latitude. I want to see them getting the ball, playing it across from side to side, stretching the game.
Yeah,
and taking advantage of the extra man, of course.
Okay, so just to clarify and to make sure that we've got this absolutely right, are you happy with Michael Oliver's performance in that first half so far?
Not totally happy. There were a few bits and pieces that it's Oliver. How can you be happy with Oliver? But
come on, just once.
Well, think about it though. He was in a good position to see that.
Yeah.
And it still took VAR to say, Michael, you might want to have a look at that, mate. I think you cocked up there.
Yeah. But I think the point being that, we sat here and we've all complained about VAR the last season or so and beyond. But no questions really so far. I'm sure Newcastle would have thought differently after last week and the penalty given, against them for Fornals. But, from a West Ham perspective, it's worked perfectly, isn't it, so far this season?
From what I've seen so far this season, not just our games, other games on the box and all that, perhaps a more continental approach to VAR seems to be adopted. And I mean, it's what I've been saying all along. If it's used properly, it could be a good thing. But the problem we've had last two seasons that we've had it in is that, it's not been working properly, has it? So,
no, of course.
Anyway, listen, I'll take my leave of you because the players are coming out for the second half. Okay. I'll just tell you, let's have a quick look. Can't see any changes for us.
Okay.
And Leicester haven't got anyone stood on touchline, so I suspect it's as you were, and as Bubbles comes up. Guys, I'll catch you later.
See you. Hopefully, we'll hear from you again at full time. Enjoy the second half.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, bye.
Iosi Perez, 274 appearances in English football until tonight. He hadn't been sent off. DL took a while to come, that one, didn't it?
Sorry, what's that? I was miles away.
Perez, it was his 274th appearance tonight in English football, and it's his first red card.
He deserved it. You know, you can't do that. He may be a lovely lad. He may be the cleanest player. He had a rush of blood to the head.
Yeah,
and he's having an early bath. Good.
Absolutely, no question, no arguments. I think from anyone, and as Pinky said, even the Leicester fans appeared to agree with that. Before we do get back to the action of the second half, which as Gnome said is just about to kick off, let's have a quick look at the KUMB.com forum match thread just to see what's being said there. New Jersey says that in my 55 years of being a West Ham fan, I've never seen a team run, shut down, hassle and chase after lost causes as much as this team does. Fantastic work ethic instilled by Moyes and his team. Hammer Al saying a brilliant goal and a really good first half for West Ham. About 90% of Leicester's 70% possession was from their centre-backs passing to each other, which comes back to something, Pinky, that you were saying earlier in the half. Another goal early in the second half, and that should be enough, says Hammers Al. And moving on to West London Hammer, who says a blinding goal and a blinding scoreline so far. I don't think Perez intended to nearly break Perez's Fornell's ankle, though. I think he looked to plant himself between Fornell's and the ball, but because he was off balance, he misjudged it, saying that it was dangerous play and he deserved the red card. Not sure why the Leicester players were protesting so much. I've got Wes Morgan as a half-time pundit here, and he said that even he couldn't debate that. Probably distracts the team talk at half-time. We've been brilliant, says West London Hammer. The goal came from being compact and patient. That Ben Rama ball was brilliant. We're looking very good.
Also from the match thread, I think this does deserve it from Morocco Mole. I know Kasper Schmeichel is a bit flavour of the month at the moment, but I've always thought he was a bit of a cock, like his old man. Gobby albino twat. It did make me smile reading that.
Well, there's no arguing with that, I guess. But he does. He's very much like his dad, like that, isn't he? I mean, in his mannerisms on the pitch, anyway. I just got Iosi Perez's stats here from Statman Dave on Twitter. He says he played for 40 minutes, 12 successful passes, 1 shot off target, 1 red card. Not an ideal start for Leicester City. Second half, just about to come now. Just a quick look at the stats for the first half. Possession, West Ham 41%, Leicester 59%. West Ham 9 shots to Leicester's 2. Leicester haven't had a shot on target yet. West Ham have had 2, scored from one of them. West Ham 3 corners to Leicester's none. Pinky, what are we? The second half has just kicked off. We're underway. What are we expecting from West Ham in this 45?
I think we'll be expecting them to try and put the game to sleep, really. We'll probably have a bit more of the ball this half and just get Leicester City running around. You know, when you haven't got the ball and you're down to 10 men, it's hard work. It really is. That's a big pitch at the London Stadium. And if we're smart, we'll just try and hang on to the ball and just sap the life out of Leicester City, because they don't look up for it tonight anyway. I mean, not from the get-go. I think we've been better for all of the first 45 minutes. And I think when Perez went off, I think most of their players would have looked at it and said, you know what, we're getting nothing here tonight. Certainly Fox's chat, that's the consensus of their cognoscenti. They're just looking at it going, even before the red card, Moyes had outthought Brendan Rodgers. And I expect that to continue. I think we'll add to our tally, but I'm not particularly perturbed if we don't. 1-0, I'd settle for that where we are right now.
DL, it was Sam Allardyce who once famously said playing against 10 men can be extremely difficult. Do you think that's going to be the case?
Yeah, that's Sam Allardyce, though. No, and yeah, he has got a point there sometimes, especially if they do stick the proverbial 10 men behind the ball. But we've got enough talent going forward that this should now be routine. Should, but it's a funny old game, as Greavy used to say. I'd like to see us keep it to 0. I'd like to see us score another 1 or 2. I think it'll be routine, as I said before half time. And I'm going to stick by that.
Good to see everybody on the stream oozing confidence here tonight, even before the kickoff. And certainly now West Ham have got that lead and up against 10 men. But we shall see how it transpires over the course of the next 42 minutes or so. We're in the 49th minute. West Ham lead by a goal to 0. The Hammers just comfortably keeping possession at the moment, knocking it around in their own half, looking for those little spaces at the back. But I think as Pinky, you were just alluding to there. You know, the Hammers really just going to make Leicester work and tire them out, keep the ball and wait for the opportunity to present itself.
Yeah, and the classic tactic when the opposition are down to 10, move the ball from flank to flank and just grind it out and you know, just put it into their heads very firmly. You're getting nothing here tonight. Don't give them a sniff. Don't try and even play football and make a mistake that causes Leicester to have some heart. Because if Leicester got an equaliser, that to them, when they're down to 10 men, that's as good as a win. You know, it's not 3 points, but psychologically, that's a comeback. So for us, a clean sheet here this evening is pretty important. And I think, you know, I think we've got the tools in the box to do it. We haven't been threatened at all in that first half. I mean, I'm really quite disappointed in Leicester City tonight. I thought they had more than this.
Yeah. Well, we've just seen Thomas Souček with the first effort of the second half. Some really clever interplay on the right-hand side between Vladimir Coufal and Jared Bowen, who backheeled the ball into the path of Souček, who stuck out a toe and just forced it over the bar. Couldn't quite get any control on the shot. But good stuff again from the Hammers. DL, we've just seen another opportunity, and Bowen's surged into the box. Soyuncu makes a very, very good challenge to prevent him from proceeding any further and puts the ball out for a corner. So we'll stick with this one momentarily, and then we'll come back to it. Hello to everyone just joining us on the stream. Welcome if you're new here. Good to have you. Anyway, we do this every week, every game, and we've been doing it for a couple of years now. For those of you who are new to it, so stick with us and let us know what you think of the stream, what you think of the game in the live chat comments. It's Bowen who's about to swing in a corner from West Ham's right-hand side. He places the ball right on the edge of the quadrant. There's a little bit of pushing between Michael Antonio and the box. The ball's drifted towards the far post, and Schmeichel just punches it clear to the edge of the box. West Ham retain possession, though, and it's Dawson with the ball. Plays it out wide to Fornals. Fornals looks up, drives forward a little bit. Couple of touches. He's still going. There's no challenge. Lifts it into the box. Looks for Antonio, and that's a fantastic save by Schmeichel to deny West Ham a second goal there. Really, really strong header from Antonio. But, I mean, DL, just looking at that opportunity as you're going to be right now, well, we'll stick with it because West Ham is still on the attack. Ben Rama on the left-hand side, cuts inside. That might be a free kick. No, he's actually conceded possession. But West Ham win it back. Souček plays it out right to Dawson, sorry, it's not Dawson, it's Coufal on the right, but he can't quite get on the ball, and I think he's going to concede a free kick there. He has. DL, what a chance, and what a good save from Schmeichel.
Yeah, very good save. We're all over him, aren't we? We're all over him. I seem to be further behind now than I was in the first half. I've only just seen the Antonio shot. But looking at the way we're playing, Leicester seem to be all 6s and 7s. Let's hope it stays that way. I think the second goal's coming unless Schmeichel has a Rob Green at Arsenal performance.
Antonio scored from that header. I mean, he got plenty on it. You know, it was an unmarked header.
Yeah,
he's got to be scoring there, and that's two good chances for my money tonight. He's not taken.
Yeah,
you know, and I don't want to be too critical of him because we know he's not a natural striker. I think he's done incredibly well for us. You know, his goals tally will tell you that. But you've got to score from that. You really have.
Yeah, I think Spencer Neal's actually called it right in the in chat. Says that put that, you know, head that down, and that's in the back of the net. I mean, I did say it was a fantastic save from Schmeichel. To be fair, it's fairly regulation. It was a perfect height for a goalkeeper, and you know, it was just a reaction save, but still had to be made. So credit where it's due. Leicester, meanwhile, are looking to break down the left-hand side, and it stopped on West Ham a winner throw-in. But 53 minutes gone, a little flurry of activity there. Anyway, DL at the start of the half, and yeah, a couple of chances for West Ham already. Looking good so far.
We are, but we switched off a little bit there. I think it was Ashley Barnes made a run into the box, and Coufal, I think, made the challenge, put the ball out for a throw-in. We just need to keep an eye on that, not switch off, keep our lines. But no, still looking good so far. But that slight little alarm there, he got into the box quite easily.
Yeah, I guess it's always going to be there while you know, the lead is as narrow as it is. Definitely need that second goal and to give us that little bit of comfort. But Leicester now, you know, sitting in two banks, or it's a bank of 5 and a bank of 4, within 5 yards of their penalty box, really sitting very, very deep. But you know, West Ham, as Pinky said at the top of the half, just keeping possession, making Leicester work. They're the ones who've got to produce something now. West Ham can, you know, hang on to this ball and just be patient. Hello to Jack Rolls joining us on the stream, also to Sean West. Evening. Hope you're doing well, fellas. Thanks for joining us. Ball played down the right-hand side now. Jared Bowen has the ball wide of the penalty area, lays it back to Pablo Fornals. Fornals comes inside to Declan Rice. Declan Rice turns, short ball to Souček, who lays it back, and West Ham have possession again. Played out this time to the left-hand side to, I think that's Cresswell, who picks it up again. It's a clever little ball. Michail Antonio can lay that out to Benrahma. Benrahma's into the box. He's tripped. And it's a goal kick. I think nothing happening there. Doesn't it was Maddison who made the challenge. Is it a goal kick or is it a corner? I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Michael Oliver's pointing somewhere, but we can't quite see what's going on. James Maddison, DL, what do you make of his performance so far? It's not obviously linked with, you know, Arsenal and a departure from Leicester so far.
Not really been watching him, to tell you the truth. I'm one of these people. I don't really watch the opposition. When I'm watching the game, I pay attention to what we're doing. I make no secret of interest in football is West Ham. That's about as far as it goes, really. Everything else to do with football, the opposition is generally just what it is.
I'm just going to cut in there. This is a real chance for West Ham. And it's 2-0. It's a second goal.
Have some of that.
Oh, it's an absolutely horrendous mistake by Leicester in their own box. I think we'll just wait for the replay to come in. I think it's Sointu who's made an absolutely horrendous error. He's tried to lay the ball back to Schmeichel, and Schmeichel's nowhere near where the ball is. I'm just waiting for a replay just to see exactly what happened. I was half concentrating on what Deal was saying there. So let's have a look at the replay. Now, you guys will probably be seeing the incident for the first time. So the ball's played into the back, and Sointu's he's not even looking at Schmeichel. He's actually played the ball back straight into the path of Michail Antonio. Antonio, very cleverly, closed down quickly by Schmeichel. So instead of attempting to shoot, he's just looked up, played the ball into the centre, and it's Said Benrahma. Yet again, Pinky, our man.
I mean, that's the most West Ham-esque own goal you're ever going to see. that reminds me very much when Carlton Cole, I think it was, passed the ball straight to Jermaine Defoe. I forget who Defoe was.
Oh, blimey, yes, I remember that.
Time. But, you know...
Just after he'd scored a worldie, wasn't it, that game? If I remember.
But it was the best pass I ever saw Carlton give. I mean, exactly where a striker would want to receive the ball. You know, a yard in front of him, he's running onto it and hit it. I mean, that was a shocking mistake. And, yeah, I mean, but again, let's credit West Ham United, Michail Antonio. If you're not working hard, if you're not really putting the effort in, you don't actually get there to intercept the ball. And secondly, to have the presence of mind to gather it in, look up, pick out your player that's coming in exactly where he should be, as a very cool finish by Said Benrahma. And Leicester have made a horrific error, but credit our lads. They're switched on. And they can say there's an opportunity there. And the opportunity arose because they worked hard. And well played, West Ham. Well played indeed.
Yeah, very much so. West Ham 2, Leicester City 0. And according to Spencer Neal in the chat, 2 more goals here tonight. And dare we say it, West Ham go top of the Premier League. What do you make of that, DL?
I think that's finished Dyers off. It's finished Dyers off the shock of us being top, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm miles away. No, I just received a text.
Sorry, I was just saying that Spencer Neal in the chat is just pointing out that if West Ham were to score 2 more here tonight, we'd be top of the Premier League at the end of the evening, which would be quite extraordinary, wouldn't it? After the 2 games we've had so far.
Oh, it means nothing. We're not Spurs.
Of course it does.
It's only 2 games. Look at Southampton last season. They were top for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It means nout. I don't like this league table after 2 games, and all that capering. Never used to be on Football Folk at no final score.
Yeah.
And that, you didn't used to see a league table till 3-4 games in, did you?
Well, that's absolutely right. Those of us of a certain vintage will remember that. They didn't used to show it, did they? Until until sort of September, was it? You'd never see it.
I'm coming with a contrary view here. Yeah. I'm actually going to get the current league table framed, not because we've got a chance to go in the top, because Arsenal are in the bottom three. You know.
Yeah,
I'll take that over to the table.
Quite something that we're rapidly anyway. We're coming into up to the hour mark, the 2/3 of the way through the game, and you know, Pinky, it really couldn't be any more comfortable, could it? If we asked. Yeah,
I mean, our greatest danger now is complacency or picking up an injury to a player that we don't want.
Yeah.
And you're always going to have an element of threat if the opposition's got a player of Vardy's pace on the field. But let's be honest, he's barely touched the ball this evening. No. He's barely featured in the whole game, and we're winning this at a canter. I mean, let's not muck around here. This is as comfortable as a home, dare I call it a win yet, as we'll see all season. I mean, there's Leicester City, they're recent champions, well invested squad. Yeah, good performance from West Ham. I mean, if you're David Moyes, you're looking at this and you're going, that's a decent start. It's a decent start ahead of the European games we've got coming up, and just what we want.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if David Sullivan's rubbing his hands together and thinking, just putting his checkbook back in his back pocket right now, thinking, well, we're doing all right.
Putting his checkbook away as if he ever got it out.
Let me reply to Sean West on the chat.
It's the way you tell him. I mean, I don't think he's putting his checkbook away because I don't think he's got a bank that would honour a check from him at the minute. I genuinely feel that the club hasn't got enough money to buy any players because the club is undercapitalised and has been for years. And we've been saying it for long enough. They just haven't got the money to compete in a league where 2 or 3 teams are either funded by sovereign wealth funds or by people who have acquired their wealth through, shall we say, unusual business practices, and our owners just haven't got the money, and amongst many other reasons, it's why they really should set a realistic price and go. And I think they will, regardless of where we are in the league. I think the time is coming.
Maybe we can return to this debate after the game, because there's been a little bit more happen, of course, in the last few days with the news that Tony Cottee is now on board. DL, you wanted to have a response to Sean West's comment there.
I do. Yes, Sean, I am enjoying it, mate. I just can't allow myself to get too excited. It's 2 games in. Dude. So I am enjoying it without a shadow of a doubt. Who can't enjoy this superbly organised West Ham United team? But I don't want to get ahead of myself because I've supported us for so bloody long that the wheels could fall off at any time.
We've just seen Michail Antonio try his luck from the edge of the box, and it's actually it's a really good shot. It's going inside the right-hand post, and Schmeichel has dived full length to his left-hand side to tip it around the post. It's another really good save from Schmeichel. West Ham have another corner, but very, very close to 3-0. Just stick with this because Jared Bowen, yet again, and it's another one of those where it doesn't look like the ball's in the quadrant, but he's drifted towards the near post. It's cleared out to the edge of the box, and Aaron Cresswell's hit one on the volley, and it's inches over the bar. I'm not sure Schmeichel would have got near that one if it had been another foot low. It's a good effort, but it stays West Ham United 2, Leicester City 0. But it's almost champagne football from the Hammers at the moment, Pinky. Of course, understandably we're up against 10 men, but we couldn't have asked for a better start, could we, this season, really?
Well, indeed, and we may only be playing 10, but you've still got to go and beat them. I mean, and how many times in the past have we seen 10 men shut up shop and we get nowhere near their goal? I mean, not being funny, if Roy Hodgson was managing Leicester City tonight, do you really think we'd be battering them the way we are Brendan Rodgers, Leicester City? And I don't think we would. I'm getting called out wonderfully by Polaroid on the YouTube channel, who's pointed out that last season I praised Bamford for Leeds and he had a shocker. Tonight I praised Maddison before kick-off and he's had a bit of a shocker. So I just want to point out that I think Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba are really good footballers. So when we play Man United, they're doing nothing. I mean, I'll make a point of that every week, pick out the opposition's 2-star players and hopefully put the curse of Pinky on them. But no, I mean, we are battering Leicester here this evening. I mean, this is the supporters who actually have managed to get into the ground tonight. Yeah, they're seeing a very accomplished performance by West Ham, and dare I say it, it's so polished it's almost boring. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, can't somebody make a mistake just to liven things up?
Well, Leicester have made a change. We're going to get our first opportunity to see Patson Daka, who, of course, is a player that West Ham was strongly linked to during the summer. Someone that David Moyes was very interested in, from what we understand. Came in for a fee of around £25 million. He's replaced Harvey Barnes for the last 24 minutes, the first change of the game there. And we've just seen an error, actually. It's Pablo Fornals has given the ball away, but immediately afterwards, Declan Rice nips in and steals the ball back and puts West Ham back on the attack. We'll stick with this for a second because Ben Rama's breaking down the left, a little step over as he looks to deliver one into the box. It's a low cross and cleared out comfortably on that occasion by Solanke, who, of course, made that dreadful error that led to West Ham's second goal. Hammer's still keeping the pressure on. Have a throw on here, 25 yards from goal. Cresswell throws it short to Antonio, who finds Declan Rice. Declan Rice looks up, switches the ball out on the right-hand side to Soufal. Soufal plays it wide to Bowen. Bowen cuts inside, looks for options, nothing on, plays it short to Declan Rice. Declan Rice looks to switch it again on the left-hand side to Cresswell. Cresswell floats one into the box, and it's blocked and played out for another corner. West Ham keeping the pressure on here. Inside the last 25 minutes, we've seen shots of the crowd there. Cresswell applauding the fans. DL, it's just all brilliant so far. I mean, as I was just saying to Pinky, it couldn't have gone any better, could it, really, so far this season?
No, not yet. It could have gone, certainly could have gone worse. I'm enjoying it. I may not look it. I'm just going through the match thread. It's quite pleasant going through a match thread when we're reading and not having to moderate it as well, which is even more fun.
Yes.
What can we say? And do you know what? I think Pinky has had a very good point there when he said it's actually verging on. Boring's not the word I'd use, but I can see where he's coming from on that. I can see it's just so functional. It's what you expect from West other teams, not us.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got another corner. I'm not sure if this is our 9th or 10th corner of the game now. I've lost count. But it's Jarrod Bowen yet again.
They're making us look like Manchester City. I mean, seriously. We are so dominant in this game. You scarcely believe we were playing Leicester. I mean, Brendan Rodgers, reading the Foxes chat there, he isn't that popular on there at the minute. And, we've seen managers lose their jobs before that are at clubs that aren't anywhere near the relegation zone, but are ones that they've spent big money, they've invested heavily, and maybe they're just not doing quite enough. And a couple of results like this, and I think Brendan Rodgers could find himself under a little bit of pressure. And dare I say, if Arsenal Football Club fancied a change, he's exactly the sort of manager they might go for. And I think if somebody picked the phone up to Brendan right now and said, "Would you come if we asked?" he just might be tempted.
68 minutes gone. West Ham United 2, Leicester City 0. Declan Rice yet again winning the ball, picking the ball up, and setting West Ham on a break. It's almost like watching the Alamo now. West Ham pouring forward at every available opportunity. It's great stuff to watch, and I'm sure the fans at the stadium are having a great night tonight. We could certainly do with another goal. Rafa, unfortunately, Rafa, your comment has been withheld by YouTube because of the expletive that you've added into it. But the gist of it, which I'm sure I can read out, says, I'm bored. It says, I agree with what the chaps are saying. I'm bored of winning. Can we go back to being rubbish again? Of course, rubbish wasn't the word that he used. I'm sure you can work out what it was. But unfortunately, it's not us that's stopping that comment from coming up. Let me just point that out. It's YouTube. Will remove automatically any comments that contain expletives. Anyway, 69 minutes gone. Moving into the last 20. Now, Leicester still looking for their first shot on target. Jamie Vardy on the ball now, been a passenger pretty much for the game so far. But who knows? I mean, you know, one goal from Leicester and there it is. And Leicester have pulled one back. just saying that. Tielemans has scored for Leicester. It's the ball played in from the left-hand side. It's a bit of a scramble in the box. The ball's fallen to Tielemans, who's pretty much just stuck a toe out and put one into the back of the net. So there you go, fellas. We were saying it's all far too easy and so very unlike West Ham. Well, you know, Pinky, you've just got your West Ham back, I think, for the last 20 minutes.
I think the phrase is "be careful what you wish for." I think, you know, and there we wanted a bit of excitement in the game. Well, now we've got it, haven't we?
And I think that Fabianski could have done better there and all.
We bunch of absolute muppets. What are we on about here? You know, that's our fault. That is.
Yep. It's all very unfortunate. I mean, the ball's actually, I think, DL, it's gone through Fabianski's legs, that one, hasn't it?
Yeah. He's not had a lot to do tonight. He's not had a lot to do at all. But I also noticed against handball. Handball.
Well, I can tell you it's been given because play's resumed. So, West Ham seem to have woken up a bit now, though, and it's sort of given us a bit of extra impetus to perhaps go on and get another one. But you felt that was handball, DL?
It looked like it from the replays. Previous seasons, I think that wouldn't have been given. They do seem to be a bit more lenient. But going back to Fabianski, I know he ain't had a lot to do.
Yeah.
But I thought last week against Newcastle, he seemed pretty flat-footed. Now, he's been a good servant to us. He's put in some good performances, but he was getting a bit rusty last season as well. The rickets were coming in. I know people aren't happy that a goalkeeper is the only position that we've signed a first teamer in. It's looking like that might be a good bit of business because I think Fabianski could have done better there, the way he's come running out.
Yeah.
If he just kept himself big and stayed there, that would have been right at him. But instead, he's come running out. He's a bit unlucky, but he could have done better. They shouldn't have scored there. Let's see what this new chap's like, I think, because that's 3 goals where I think Fabianski maybe not have stopped them, but could have done considerably better. The 3 goals that we've conceded this season so far, you've got to look at the keeper. You could have maybe done a bit better there. Not saying he would have saved them. Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
No, for my money, I see it very, very differently. There's 7 claret shirts in the box when they scored. I think there were 3 Leicester players in the box. We had the numbers, we had the players back. They'd done the hard work, and yet somehow Tielemans found himself without a West Ham player within 2 yards of him. I'm sorry, but somebody should have been picking him up, and he should never have been allowed to get any kind of a shot off in the first place. I mean,
quite agree. But
I take your point on the keeper. But actually, I'll be looking at the outfield players there going, somebody has not done their job there, and David Moyes will be kicking somebody very hard on full time for that, if that does indeed end up costing us, because that's just poor defending by West Ham.
Jamie Vardy seemed to have sprung into life. We saw him involved in the goal, and he's just got round the back of Soufal, put across him, but fortunately for West Ham, there's no one in the middle to get on the end of it. But Leicester certainly think they've got a chance here now. DL pulled themselves right back into the game when everything looked lost, but it's game on again.
It is. They've woken up and they're looking dangerous. We're looking shaky. Poor combination. Before they scored, I was going to say, when Pinky was saying about how bad Leicester were, my comment was after that was going to be, maybe it's just because we're making them look bad and we're not giving ourselves enough credit. But normal service is resumed now, so I'm feeling actually more comfortable than I was before they scored. This is West Ham.
Yeah, and I think it's also a case of, on the 72nd minute, that's when the East Stand normally starts to, drain away from the stadium, heading for the hour-long jog to the station. And at 2-0 up, you could just see the East Stand emptying out. But at 2-1, I think they'll hang around for another quarter of an hour. So, it'll look a bit better for the TV cameras anyway.
This is, with a full crowd in the stadium. Well, just hang on there for a second, because it looks like West Ham have got another corner. Thomas tackling Michael Antonio out by the right flank, just poking the ball over the line. And I think this will be another Jared Bowen one floating in. Hopefully it will be a bit more productive than the other 9 or 10 he's had so far, which haven't really come to a lot. But I was just going to say there, actually, interesting, because obviously, Dio, we've got the crowd back in there tonight. And this is the point really where you really need those fans to get behind your team and see them over the line, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was, as I said, in the friendly, after the friendly at Atalanta, this could go one of two ways with the supporters back. If we lost against Newcastle and conceded first here, I could have maybe seen it getting a bit grotty. Thankfully, we're doing the job. We've got 60,000 fans behind us. Let's hope it stays this way for the rest of the season, because we are a difficult crowd to play in front. Oh, we are a difficult
Declan Rice has just put one over, and Dawson has just nodded it narrowly past the post. Good chance for the Hammers there. Almost could have been 3. Some good work on the left-hand side by West Ham. Ben Rama playing a clever little ball into the channel for Declan Rice, who just lofts it towards the far post. Dawson getting above 2 Leicester defenders to get his head on it, but once again can't quite. He's moving away from the ball, moving backwards, and can't quite direct it goalwards. But I'm just thinking, really, Pinky, those thinking back really now to those 2 saves that Schmeichel made within the space of a couple of minutes there. One from Souček, wasn't it? From Antonio, the header, and then the shot. They at the time West Ham were 2-0 up, looking comfortable. They could prove instrumental now in the in terms of how this game pans out.
It's why the goalkeeping position is so important. You have to maintain your concentration for the full 90, even if you're not doing very much. Although I would point out that in at least one of those, I'd say it wasn't so much a Schmeichel save; it was an Antonio miss.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes we criticise players a bit too much. Other times, I think we let them off a bit too much. And the Antonio miss, head it at the floor, it's a goal. Head it down. Every single striker knows instinctively, head it at the keeper's feet area. Yeah, make it very difficult for him to get down to stop it. And the ball's in the back of the net. And, at 3-0, the game is dead and buried.
Yeah.
At 2-0, they've always got some kind of a puncher's chance. I mean, I still think we've got more than enough to see us over the line here. I really do. But ultimately, we have created the window of opportunity for Leicester, and perhaps it'll do some good. We've got to concentrate for the last quarter of an hour or so, 15, 20 minutes. Just hang on to the ball. Don't give Leicester anything. Don't give them any encouragement, and just try and put Leicester to sleep a bit here now.
West Ham have another corner. It's taken short this time to Ben Rama. Ben Rama swings it over to the far post, and it's just drifted out harmlessly for a goal kick. Someone was saying on the stream, can't quite remember who it was a few moments ago. Apologies to whoever it was who mentioned it. I'm just trying to see if I can. Oh, here we go. It was Spencer Neal. Talking about corners, this deal was our forte, wasn't it? Not so long ago. Our strength from set pieces. We seem to have lost a little bit from that in the last few months. Souček, of course, was a real danger, a real presence there, but we haven't really profited from those recently, have we? Of course, I mean, I'm saying it's only 2 games into the season, but even at the tail end of last season, we joked, didn't we, frequently about that stat that said that in the first half of the season we'd scored more from set pieces than any other, and of course we didn't for quite a while and haven't since.
I think it's more the opposition rather than us. They're knowing how to mark us now at set pieces and corners. It's quite predictable, isn't it? Really, yep. It's bread and butter defending now. Give it time. We'll still get one. We'll still get the odd goal. We've got it in us. We could do with an Andy Carroll up front.
West Ham breaking again down the left-hand side. Cresswell short to Ben Rama. Ben Rama cuts inside. He's going to look to float a ball in. He's delivered it to the far post, should I say. Antonio beaten to the ball. It's headed out, but only as far as Soufal. West Ham keeping the pressure on, looking for this third goal that would prove surely too much for Leicester to come back from. Pablo Fornals has the ball out on the right flank and plays it back to Soufal. West Ham coming backwards again, and we'll come back to this in a minute if anything develops. Paul Hicks says, and really, actually, Paul, I'm gonna leave this one until our post-match discussion. Just watching Declan Rice deliver a ball into the near post where Antonio turns and shoots. Oh, and it's in the back of the net. That's number 3.
Have some of that.
That's great stuff. Michael Antonio, Pinky, what are we saying? You know, he gets the chances. Eventually, one's going to come, and that is pure Antonio. Close range, an absolute beast. Turns on a sixpence. Fires low into the far corner. That's the goal that means he's West Ham's leading goal scorer in the Premier League. And I'm just looking at the celebration. He's rushed over to the side of the pitch, picked up an effigy of himself, kissed it, thrown it to the ground, and run off to celebrate. 3-1 West Ham.
I haven't seen it yet, so you know.
Well, that must be game over now. I'm surely. You know, that's the fun. Just looking at the goal, Declan Rice played a lovely little 1-2 with Cresswell, low ball delivered into the box. Antonio drops a shoulder to go to the right, turn to the left, drills a shot into the far corner. Schmeichel, no chance of getting on the end of that one. DL, surely that's game over now.
Oh, I ain't saying a word now. I was all positive earlier. And then we're going to concede a goal. Yeah, it should be. Even we can't, can we? It's 3 goals, though, isn't it?
I mean, dare I say it? You know, I had a fault on my TV yesterday, so I ended up watching the Chelsea game. And what you ended up there with Lukaku, with his back to goal, turning centre backs, was unplayable. What we've just seen Antonio do there was every bit as good. Yeah, receive the ball, turn the defender, get the shot off, and bury it. Outstanding finish from Antonio there. Really good indeed. You know, all the way through. You know, the change of pace to get across the defender to be in a position to receive the ball. Yeah, I mean, you know, this is outstanding from Antonio. It really is good. That's as good as a finish as you will see from any forward all season. That's a brilliant goal. That is a brilliant goal.
Yeah,
fabulous.
Absolutely fancy. What a way to become West Ham's leading Premier League goal scorer. I believe that's 48 goals for Antonio now, DL. One more than Paolo Di Canio managed during his time at the club. And bearing in mind he's played half the time at right back, at right wing back, and as a winger, that's no mean feat, really. Would you say?
No, it's not. And I'm made up for the fella. I do like him. I know I've advocated before that maybe because of his injuries, we should have taken an offer on him if a big enough one come in. But no, I am made up for the bloke. I like him. He plays with a smile on his face. He's as frustrating in equal measure as he is good. And I'm glad he's got it. Let's just hope that in his last season as well, seeing him absolutely in hysterics on the bench, whilst Antonio was doing his little dance with himself. Mark Noble as well, let's not forget, isn't far behind Di Canio.
Yep.
So hopefully if he gets a couple this season, I think he goes ahead or equals Di Canio as well, doesn't he? So that'd be a nice one. That'd be a nice thing to send off with. Nothing wrong with finishing second in that race.
Can I just point out, Dio, at this moment in time, you're bang on with your prediction of West Ham 3, Leicester 1. Still another 7 and a bit minutes to go, but I went for 3-2, Pinky a 2-1. So we're all kind of right. We all predicted a West Ham win, but yeah, we could certainly do. We're back to needing 2 more to be top of the Premier League, but we don't want to tempt fate. We've already done that tonight and nearly paid the price. But anyway, great stuff. It's been a really good night so far for the Hammers, who are absolutely flying at the moment. The crowd look like they're enjoying themselves. The players are enjoying themselves. Pinky, you wish you were there, don't you?
Yeah, and good evening to Fat Tony and Java, who's actually sat in my seat this evening. Hope he's enjoyed his evening there tonight. But yeah, I wish he was there. But there you go. You hate missing any games, particularly wins. But sometimes, if another supporter gets to go and have had a good night, it's not the worst thing in the world. This has been a very, very, very accomplished performance by West Ham tonight.
Can I just, sorry, Pinky, to butt in there, but we've just made it 4-1. Antonio scored again.
You're kidding.
No, 4-1. The ball coming from the left, a little toe poke over the line. And it's West Ham United 4, Leicester City 1. Great stuff. Mikhail Antonio now on 49 goals.
So,
lovely, jubbly.
5-6 minutes to get another goal and we go top.
Yes. 84 minutes gone. West Ham United and Mikhail Antonio. What a second half he's having here. Let's just have a little look at the goal. Again, it's Soufal who drives down the right-hand side, puts a cross into the box. Antonio, yet again, another one of those little turns. And this time just toe pokes the ball over the line. Schmeichel comes out to challenge him. No chance of getting there. There's a bit of a wayward first touch actually, DL. But, what a fantastic finish that is in the end to double his account for the night.
Yes. Have we ever scored 4 goals in 2 consecutive Premier League games?
Very interesting. Good point. This is where we need Rio on the stream.
I know. That's exactly what I thought. Where's Rio?
Well, of course, this is the first time since 1983, I think it was, that we opened our account with 4 goals. I think we went top of the table that night by beating Notts County, wasn't it? In 1982-83, I think it was, or 83-84. But as for scoring 4 goals in each of the opening 2 games of the season, if anyone on the chat knows whether that's been done before, let us know. If it's a first, let us know, because we haven't got access to all the stats at the moment. We're trying to watch the game, of course, but do let us know.
Not just obviously the first time we've scored 4 in our first 2 games. I can't ever recall us scoring 4 goals in 2 consecutive Premier League games ever, period, let alone at the start of the season.
Well, there you go.
What I was saying earlier in the programme, Antonio, where I like to see him, 6 or 7 yards out, going in where it hurts.
Yeah,
there you go. Bang. Trademark Antonio goal, that. Terrific finish. Terrific stuff.
And we're still fighting for every ball. 4-1 up. And we're still not letting them breathe. And then we're on the attack again. Or rather, 30 seconds ago, we was on the attack.
Well, I'm a little bit in front, and I can tell we're still on the attack, actually, dear. We're going forward again. But, Jack Rolls on the chat saying that David Moyes may have had his doubters, but he's making us a really solid club. And I don't think there's anyone can really doubt what David Moyes is doing now. It's just, the thing is, and I don't want to put a mock on it because it's been another fantastic night for West Ham. But here we are, Pinky, 87 minutes in, yet to make a substitution. And why are we yet to make a substitution? Because if you look at the bench, what have we got to bring on? Well, that's the issue here, isn't it, really?
Absolutely. You make a sub to either shore us up at the back if you're in a good position, or make a change, do something different if you're chasing the game, or give a youngster a bit of pitch time, that kind of thing. Introduce a new player gently in nice, unpressurized circumstances. The reality is we haven't got enough coming through the academy. We haven't signed anybody to introduce gently, and we haven't got sufficient depth on the bench to say we'll risk bringing them on. And, you're looking at it now and you're thinking, please don't let this be a season that turns into what if. What if we've got a player and all the rest of it? Because never mind David Sullivan sitting there rubbing his hands going, I'll put my checkbook away. Surely, if he has any interest in West Ham United at all as a football club, he must be sitting there thinking, where can I get 30 or 40 or 50 million pounds to give the manager at least 1, hopefully 2 signings before the window shuts? That's what he should be thinking. He shouldn't even be at the game tonight. He should be trying to sell his property empire, whatever he's got. He should be trying to raise the funds. He should be phoning around every wealthy West Ham United supporter saying, give me 30 grand, 40 grand, 50, whatever it is. His job is to get the money. Karen Brady's job is to get the money. They are not doing their jobs. David Moyes is overperforming. He's overperforming. The players are overperforming. They're doing magnificently. They're not letting the supporters down. But I have to say, the board of directors, they should be doing more. They really should be doing more for West Ham United and for the manager and the players, because the players are giving it everything. You know, players are doing fine, but there ain't enough of them. It's that simple.
No. Yeah, absolutely. And to kind of hammer home that point, we've just seen Mark Noble and Andrei Yarmolenko replace Said Benrahma and Mikhail Antonio as we approach the last couple of minutes. Just got to say, it's an absolutely lovely scene there on the side. Antonio come off hugged by David Moyes, and then a lovely little moment with Kevin Nolan where he hugged him and obviously congratulated him, DL, on becoming the leading goal scorer in the Premier League for West Ham. Little bit of concern here, talking about the potential injuries. Probably the one place we can afford to have an injury is between the sticks, because we've got 4 goalkeepers, first-team goalkeepers on the books at the moment. Lucas Fabianski is in some pain at the moment. He's back on his feet and limping after a bit of a challenge, but yeah, I guess it kind of says something, DL, doesn't it? When you're wincing at every single challenge that's made on the pitch, because you know that if there is a bad injury, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, we are. Quite why Fabianski was doing all the way out there anyway, I've got no idea. There was no danger whatsoever, and he's just stitched himself right up. But no, we are very shallow. We've got no squad depth apart from between the sticks. We need some players. We don't need a lot. We just need a bit of cover, bit of competition, as Moyes says. And look, we're still pressing up the pitch. We're still pressing up the pitch on 89 and a bit, 90 minutes, and we're still looking to go forwards. This ain't the West Ham I know. But in regards to the subs, or rather the lack of them, we could have had another first 11 on the bench. I don't think Moyes would have changed it. He's not going to make subs for the sake of it. He'll only make a sub if it's needed. And we were 4-1 up. It weren't broke, so why try and fix it?
Yeah,
I just think that's Moyes. I got frustrated after lockdown when we first started doing these. That he was late with his subs, but now I've got to know him more as a manager. Yeah, that's just David Moyes. That's what he does, and I've kind of got used to it, really.
Hobo Chamber says Pinky spot on. Any half decent owner would be looking at this and thinking we're only 2 or 3 players away from being devastatingly good. Michelle saying that this is Sully's worst nightmare as it puts him under pressure to spend. We'll be discussing that in the post-match review very, very shortly. There's 3 minutes of additional time being announced. We're almost halfway through that now as West Ham are cruising towards another win. Pinky, best team in the Premier League so far this season? Would that be fair to say?
If you want my opinion, we're the best team in the Premier League every season, but people might suggest an element of bias in my assessment. I mean,
why.
Yes. I mean, I've just stood up and given a round of applause for our club captain, Mark Noble, because me and my mate Jeff that we go with every week at away games, we've decided every time he gets on the field this year, he's going to get a standing ovation from us, because, what a great servant he's been to West Ham. But I mean, for my money here tonight, we are so in control of this game. Yeah. We said it. Complacency was our biggest risk, and so it proved when they nicked a goal back. But we really are playing some good football. You don't score 8 goals in your opening 2 games by accident. The opposition haven't gifted us 8 goals. They've gifted us 1 tonight, for sure. But we've worked for the other 3, and arguably even the gift. Antonio had to do the work to actually be there to take advantage, to pull the ball back for Benrahma to slot it home. So for my money, it's the old Gary Player thing. The harder I work, the luckier I get. And this is a team that's actually. How many seasons have we seen us get off to a sluggish start where it's mid-November before we get our first win? Too many for us to recall, really. And this time around, 2 wins straight out the blocks. Ultimately, what that does to a team and for a club is it says, see that horrible part of the table down in the bottom 6? We're not going to be anywhere near it all season, and we know that from August. Pressure off. It isn't quite a case of job done, but it means the players don't have to have any fear in their hearts or their heads when they go out every week. So a good start, always useful. We've done it. We're at the right end of the table at the right time of the season, and just make sure that we need to be at the right end of the table at the end of the season as well. So great start from West Ham, really, really good. And how nice it is to see 60,000 West Ham United supporters there, lauding it over the travelling Leicester supporters. I mean, you know, have some of that, you lot. Have your drive back to Leicester. Enjoy it. It's only 2 hours up the road, but it'll seem like 10 because they've seen a very poor Leicester City performance tonight, and they've seen a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant West Ham performance. Great win, 4-1. Absolutely thrilled with that. Delighted.
The final whistle has blown at the London Olympic Stadium. West Ham United have smashed Leicester City 4-1 tonight. Pablo Fornals opening the scoring after 24 minutes before the advantage was doubled by Saeed Benrahma. After 56 minutes, West Ham conceding on 70 minutes when Tielemans pulling it back, halving the deficit and making us all a little bit nervous. But we weren't to be kept worrying for long because 10 minutes later, with 10 minutes left to go, Michail Antonio scored his 48th goal in the Premier League as a West Ham player, finally beating Paolo Di Canio's long-standing record. And then he went one further just 2 minutes later by scoring West Ham's fourth on the night, making it a very, very comprehensive win for West Ham. 2 wins out of 2, 8 goals scored, 3 goals conceded. Crystal Palace up next. DL, what do you make of that then?
I'm kind of speechless. I'm actually kind of speechless. I am used to it. Pinky put in the other games thread. I don't know if you saw my reply to it actually about already after 2 games. It's looking like there's Liverpool, Man. Was it Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea? When you said Pinky, the 3 to win the league,
the title.
Now, I done the correction, and I said, "Correction, mate, it's 4. You forgot West Ham." If this was anyone else other than West Ham, we'd be talking about it, wouldn't we? Surely. Now, I'm not running ahead of myself because obviously it's contradicting what I said about the table. But come on, 8 goals scored, 3 conceded in 2 games, and we haven't played muggy teams. It's not like we've played the teams that have just come up. We played a team that finished above us, and we played a Newcastle team that took the lead against us twice.
Yeah, beat us twice last year.
Yeah, we've come back. We have got a bloody good team. We've got a bloody good team. Where can it go? Come on, Sullivan.
Oh, stand up for the champions. They're showing us as top of the league.
Yep, I was just about to come to that. West Ham, Chelsea, Liverpool, Brighton, Tottenham all level on 6 points, but West Ham top of the table at the moment by courtesy of goals scored, 8 goals in those opening 2 games. Pinky, what a start to the season!
You take it all day long, and do you know what? How thrilled am I for those West Ham United supporters who have gone along to the game this evening. They've seen us. Frankly, the thrash, a pretty good Leicester City team who, to be fair, tonight weren't really at the races. But do you know why? That's because we didn't let them get to the races. We had 2 outstanding players in the middle of the park in Souček and Rice. They completely bossed the middle of the field, gave Leicester City nothing whatsoever. Jamie Vardy may as well have stayed at home tonight and watched EastEnders or whatever they do in the Midlands to while away the hours, because he never really got a sniff tonight. And you look at that tonight and you're going, 60,000 West Ham United supporters.
Yeah.
And you think of all the grief we've had over the years, even the recent years in terms of everything that's gone on, just to see a couple of comprehensive, total dismantling of the opposition 2 games running. Yeah, that's not a freak of nature. That actually is a game plan being perfectly executed by the players. It's a manager that's actually got everyone on the same page. But no doubt about it, David Moyes has transformed the mindset of the players at this football club. He's changed the personnel dramatically. And Manuel Pellegrini must be looking at this now, staring at his shoes going, lucky I got another job quite quickly, because I wouldn't be getting one anytime soon now. Because Moyes has actually come in. He's made the chairman look a little bit of a, how can I put it, not wise man, having let him go first time around. And he's done a super job. But most of all, you look at it. Antonio, I think, was signed by Slaven Bilic. And I think, from memory, made his debut away at Man City. And that game away at City that season was a bit of an Alamo. We came away from there with a win. But a player who's so confident, he's got himself a little cardboard or whatever it is, mock-up on the sidelines, ready to go and do a little routine with. Great stuff to see. And that's exactly the sort of thing our supporters love. Whether it's stroking the carpet after Karen's had the carpet replaced, or hugging himself on the touchline. Only at West Ham can we have a player that crashes a car dressed as a snowman, and everyone just laughs it off. I mean, that's Antonio for you. But behind him, being no doubt at all, 4-0 had a terrific game this evening. Then Rama, another solid performance. Bowen again, very good. Rice, Souček. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't even notice that Ogbonna and Dawson were on the field for most of the game.
Yeah.
That's how dominant we were tonight. It was like they didn't have anything to do, really. My main concern about Ogbonna and Dawson is that between them, they made a hash of a very good goal-scoring opportunity. But really, defensively, they had not very much to do, and one of their quieter evenings. So, great win for West Ham. And with Palace to come, with a rookie manager, really, and Patrick Vieira, not done very much in the window, I don't think. Not enough, certainly. You'd have to fancy our chances of making it 3 wins on the spin come Saturday. You really would.
Yeah, Palace, of course, only with 1 point from their opening 2 games. We'll come to that very shortly. Of course, we'll be looking at the Palace game in due course. But before we do that, we're going to reflect on what's been a fantastic performance for the Hammers tonight. And someone who was watching it live at the London Olympic Stadium was Gnome, who's joining us now on the stream. Gnome, are you with us? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. It's a bit noisy around here, but hope you can hear me all right. I'm just going to try and find somewhere a little bit less busy. But anyway, carry on. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Well, I mean, it's been an absolutely fabulous night for the Hammers tonight. Of course, when we spoke at half-time, it was only 1-0. There was a lot of football to be played. We spoke about the importance of that second goal. West Ham did get the second goal, of course. In the end, it took a while to come, but Leicester pulling it back, and then Michail Antonio, two great goals at the end. How do you sum up what you've seen over there tonight?
Well, by and large, I thought it was magnificent, to be honest. It was an objection on how to play against 10 men. Wasn't a duff performance in the house on our side. Really, absolutely. I mean, one little blip there, and but sorry, you'd hear a few happy people around. No, I just thought it was wonderful. Superb performance. I'll give Antonio man of the match purely because of the occasion. No, I thought Rice was absolutely wonderful in the middle. They just run that game. That was his game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Had an American chap sat next to me, his first game. So I told him he can come again.
It'll never be as good as that. That's the problem. Lulled into a full sense of security there tonight. Great, seriously. And I don't know if you've seen it yet. We're top of the table. We are top.
Yeah, I kind of worked it out, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do, won't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we were trying to work out, and I don't know if you know this.
4 goals a game.
Yes, yeah, good stuff. I'm going to put you on the spot now because I don't know if you can remember, but DL couldn't remember the last occasion on which we scored 4 goals in succession in Premier League fixtures, and we were trying to figure out whether we've ever scored 4 goals in the first 2 games of a top-flight season. Do either of those anything sort of spring to mind for you there?
Not really. I mean, you need Rio for that, don't you?
Well, that's what we were saying. We were missing him tonight, unfortunately. Obviously Rio unavailable, but yeah, we can think. I mean, if anyone who is on the live stream now can help us out with that, please do. You know, you said Antonio was your man of the match there, Gnome, tonight, which was interesting. Great supporting cast, really, of course. And Pinky made the point that we really didn't notice the defenders at all, apart from what they were doing in the opposite half, because, you know, we really limited them to barely any chances at all, didn't we?
Exactly, yeah. And I was thinking part of the way through the second half, you know, Fabianski, like, you know, when did he last touch the ball?
I think we may have lost Gnome again.
Yeah, no, I can hear. I'm back. Yeah.
Oh, you're here. Good. Okay, good stuff. If you can chuck the video on, Gnome, I know it's difficult, but if you get a chance, it will help us know whether you're live or not with us.
Okay, it's just I'm walking and I have to put my ear to the phone because I've got proper headphones. So
no worries at all. No worries at all. Well, if and when you find a quiet spot and you can flick it on, that'd be grand. But yeah, I mean, Pinky, Gnome felt that Michail Antonio was his man of the match out there tonight. Would you agree with that, or would you have gone for someone else?
I'd have gone with Rice. You know, the crucial interception and way he released the ball quickly to set us on the way for one of the goals. You know, when we see his stats later, we'll probably see that he's intercepted or, you know, re-won possession 4 or 5 times tonight. You know, if he's playing for another club, we're raving about him. We'll be saying he's the difference. Well, actually, I'm saying very clearly for West Ham United, he's the difference. Yeah. But to be fair to Michail Antonio, you know, I mean, I raved about one of his finishes there tonight. 2 of them were actually, you know, were terrific. But the one where he's turned his defender and got his shot off and buried it in the corner, yeah. If he was a £50 million striker, a £70 million striker, you'd be saying, yeah, that's what they do at that caliber. Mm-hmm. That's what Michail Antonio cost us about £4 and a bag of crisps. Yeah, you know, when we signed him, that's what he's done for the club. And dare I say it, he is a player who's improved under David Moyes. Under Slaven Bilic, there was a game away at Crystal Palace where he had, I don't know if YouTube will allow it, but he had a brain fart and he gave the ball away deep in the opposition half with about 20 seconds to go. Palace tore up field and scored. And at that precise moment, I said, I'm done with Antonio because he's made an awful decision there. We were desperate for the points. And it probably cost Bilic's job in the final analysis. You know, that was the final straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah. But he's kind of become a reborn player. He's done brilliantly. And tonight, his 2 goals, any team in the league would say they want him in their starting lineup. If he can do that every week, they'd all take him, be in no doubt. Great stuff from Antonio. But my man of the match was Declan Rice. I just think he's probably played about 70% of his capability and he bossed the game, really. Yeah. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you. I mean, you know, the pitch was full of fantastic performances across the field tonight, but I think I'll go for Declan for just the sheer energy and the influence that he had on the match. We were just seeing there while you were talking, Pinky, some wonderful scenes outside the stadium. Thousands of happy hammers making their way home to the various parts of the southeast and wherever else they've come from tonight, following an absolutely fantastic win. Everyone in good cheer, which is great to see. Before we move on to the next thing, DL. If I can just ask you, man of the match for you tonight, who did you have down?
I'm going to go for Mick just because he deserves it, really. He's broke the record and then broke it again, and he's just a legend now in my eyes. He's not. Oh, I'm struggling to find the words here. I'm a little bit emotional, really. I've got his interview up on the corner in the screen, and just look at his face. Just look at him. Do you want to pull off for a second, DL, and just? I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that quite literally.
What I meant to say
I'm
was, do
still a
you want
bit
to just
bruised,
go to the Antonio interview and let us know in a minute or so what? I'm sure he's not quite that excited, but do let us know what he says if you get the opportunity, if there's still any left.
I can't really hear it. I can just.
Okay.
He's having the interview now. He's getting his cardboard cutout over.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. All right. Well, I'm sure we can pick up that on that in a few moments. Anyway, some of the team letting us know who they felt was man of the match tonight on the live chat. Some shouts coming in for Ben Rama, Camel saying Ben Rama was Kamel. Sorry, Kamel, if I pronounced your name incorrectly. Saying Ben Rama was good today and last week. Focus Bill going for Antonio. Jonas Sparks, big up Antonio. It seems that. Two or three names. Focus Bill, big respect to Antonio. Ben saying Ben Rama is simply world class. So it looks like those two guys, Richard Wharton, Antonio is the best striker in the Premier League right now. Well, let's talk about that. Is that fair, Pinky? Antonio, best striker in the Premier League right now?
Strikers' performances are measured in goals. He's outscored the rest of them. So at this precise moment, he's absolutely red hot. And as I said 3 or 4 minutes ago, there's 2 finishes tonight. Any team in this division would put him in their starting 11 if they thought he could do that every week. Any team. Manchester City, Chelsea, Man United, Tottenham, any of them. If they felt he could do that every week, he's starting for all of them. Never mind Harry Kane, £100 million. There's Michael Antonio. Yeah. I mean, his first goal tonight, I mean, just sensational finish. The problem with him, you've got to give a balanced view, he should have probably had at least 2 more. The 2 goals aren't the story. It's the 2 chances that he didn't take that are the story. And if he was that 70, 80, 90 million pound striker, going home not just with a match ball, but with a goal on top tonight. That's the difference, and he's done brilliantly for us. Not knocking the guy, but you know what? He'll know deep down, and his manager will know who's good, four's par on the chances he had, and for the money he cost, is there a better value for money player out there at this point in time? Nowhere. Yeah,
not at all.
Great
absolutely
stuff.
Not. Absolutely not. Good shout. Eric saying also going for Antonio as man of the match. Walid Kadua, Ben Rama man of the match. So those 2 really cropping up quite a lot from you guys on the live chat tonight. Stevie Page saying, "Hi Steve, good to see you. We look like a proper team." Chris Akabusi, here's a different one, saying lots of players will get lots of credit, but one who will go under the radar tonight is Pablo Fornals. He was immense, was everywhere, and was the linchpin for West Ham tonight. Statman Dave, Declan Rice's game by numbers versus Leicester City. A couple of us had Declan Rice down as man of the match tonight. 96% pass accuracy is the figure you were looking for, Pinky. 7 ball recoveries and 3 interceptions. 3 out of 4 tackles won, 2 out of 3 successful dribbles, 2 chances created, and 1 assist. A progressive deal. What about those figures? Absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, and that's why. We've talked about the chairman putting his checkbook away. It's not so much his checkbook I'm worried about; it's his accounts receivable that I'm concerned with, because there's 3 or 4 teams that need to qualify for the Champions League every year that could really use a player of Declan Rice's capability. And whilst I've commented in the past that actually his position would probably only command a fee of 60 or 70 million top whack, because just the nature of where he plays on the field, he is performing at a level now where he really would command the premium. If somebody wanted him this window, forget any number that's 60 or 70 million. It's 100 million plus. He is that good at the minute. He really is. He's outstanding. And if we hang on to him as long as we can, I'll be happy with that.
Brilliant touch.
Good stuff. I can hear Gary Neville in the background in someone's stream. I don't know which one of you guys has got him on, but I'm guessing he was as impressed as we were tonight. Someone else who was equally impressed by West Ham's performance was the Guardian's Jacob Steinberg. Jacob, of course, a former KUMB contributor, wrote some match reports for us back in the day. Jacob has taken to Twitter to say simply, West Ham are good. I don't know what's happening. DL, do you know what's happening?
I'm as perplexed as everybody else, to be honest. We're a bloody good team. We are really, really good team. There's no fluke about us scoring 4 goals. You can say the opposition, but you know we made Newcastle look ordinary. We've made Leicester City look ordinary, who are no mugs, you know, and we've done that now three games in a row against them as well. And the plaudits and stuff that they've been getting, and I quite like the fact that we still really, maybe not this season now. If we keep this up, we ain't going to do a last season and go under the radar. I think keep going back to what Pinky says, the board need to support this manager, because we could be on the cusp of something outstanding that is beyond our wildest dreams. Now, I'm not going to be ridiculous and say, you know, we're going to win the league and all that crap. That's just ridiculous. We're West Ham, we're not Tottenham. But with some smart investment in the last week of this transfer window, we was only 2 points off Champions League last season. On what we've seen from the 2 games so far, and you know the caveat is it is only 2 games.
Yeah,
I can't see any reason, with a bit of astute business in the last week of the window, why not? Actually, you know, why not? We could do that. We've just hammered 8 goals past 2 Premier League teams. That's the thing. 8 goals. That's no mean feat. That is no mean feat whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We could have a good season if, again, another caveat, if Europe doesn't take too much out of us. Now, it may prove at the end of the season that these points we've got on the board have been invaluable because our form drop off in Europe. But it is down to the board to back the manager to make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Now, I did see that the bloke, it was on Twitter and it's been in the transfer thread as well. The bloke called Areola coming to us is called Laborde coming to us as well. That we're in talks. I know absolutely nothing about him. So if somebody in the comments who's more into their European football could give an opinion on him, maybe. I don't know, but he's a good 8. I had a quick Google of him. He's a nice age. He fits Moyes' MO very much so. Same as Zuma. He's a good defender. I put in the transfer thread earlier on. He's not 125 grand a week player, and I hope that we can get a deal over the line for him. And it just means we need someone in centre mid as well. My concern is we don't seem to be being linked to centre midfielders, which is a bit concerning. And the other thing that's concerning, as Pinky touched on as well, is Declan Rice. He's been usually he's got a lot to say for himself on social media and stuff like that. There is the murmurings coming out about his refusal to sign contracts from various sources. And my concern is he's been conspicuous by his absence on that one. And I've got this niggly feeling at the back of my mind that something may happen with him at the end, right at the end of the window, where we're going to get all the old rollicks of we didn't have time and stuff like that. It will take a monumental bid, but as we saw with Villa and Grealish, you know, they stuck £100 million on his head because they didn't want to let him go. Grealish, in my eyes, is nowhere near £100 million player. City paid the money. I don't know. The only thing I'm clinging on to is that I don't think there's anyone apart from City who has got £100 million laying around to lay out. for Declan Rice. But if the board was offered 80 million, I think he'd go.
Well, I mean that of course is the big question, isn't it? It's one thing saying that, you know, we're going to keep Declan, it's our intention, but of course the board's hand hasn't been tested yet. You know, they haven't been offered that huge sum of money, which we would imagine at some point is inevitable, even if it isn't this season, and next season, or maybe the season after. It's going to come eventually, but until that point, we don't know. We will come on to that in just a second, actually, DL. Just want to break in quickly, just to point out, according to our friend Optajoe, West Ham have ended the day top of the Premier League for only the second time ever. Anyone remember when the last time was? Of course, it was no one's going to remember that. August the 22nd, 2006. 2006, the last time West Ham ended a Premier League match day top of the table. So 15 years coming it's been. So good stuff. We're happy with that. Jaron says Soufal was really good. I like this guy. Another shout for man in the match. The person you were alluding to there, dear, was Gaëtan Laborde, who is obviously the Montpellier striker, someone that West Ham have been linked with for the last couple of transfer windows. And as far as we understand, there was a deal agreed back in January to bring him in on a €2.5 million euro loan fee with view to a 12.5 million fee at the end of the season. But of course, David Moyes in the end opted to bring in Jesse Lingard, and the rest is history. But it's been one that's sort of been in the background all summer, hasn't it? That one, not probably Moyes' first choice player, but certainly someone he's been keeping an eye on for the last year or so. And it looks like, if rumours are correct anyway, emanating from France this evening, that that deal could certainly be on. We're going to talk briefly about the transfer window. Firstly, Pinky, will we sign anyone? Secondly, how many players do we need? And thirdly, in which positions?
Well, yes, we'll sign someone. I mean, where I have a degree of sympathy with our club and other clubs of our kind of means, when you start paying employees £120,000 a week and more, if you sign in the first week of June, by the time they've won you a point, they've cost you, £1 million. Now, in the mad insane world of the Premier League, we talk about £1 million as if it's not very much money. Yet every single person who is watching this broadcast or taking part of it, with £1 million in our back pockets, we'd probably sit there and go, that's it, I'm packing up work and I'm done forever. So £1 million a lot of do-re-mi. So I think sometimes in the Premier League, when we get used to big, huge sums being chucked around, it's easy to say, well, it's only 5 million, 10 million, just pay the money. But actually, when you haven't got very much money, you do have to haggle. You have to negotiate on everything, whether it's the amount, the payment terms, the structure, and all the rest of it. So I have some sympathy with clubs like ourselves, because we're not alone in this. Let's not kid ourselves. We're not the only club who aren't spending money. So yes, I think we'll bring some players in. How many do we need and where do we need them?
Yep.
If we want to take European competition seriously, which I think we should, because two reasons. Firstly, our fans deserve it. And secondly, our players deserve it. If you want to hang on to a Declan Rice or encourage a Thomas Souček to sign a new deal, or a Soufal or whoever, then you want them playing at the highest possible level and say, look, we told you if you came to West Ham, you'd do this, and we have. And now we want to go to the next level. Yeah. They've got to believe that the club has actually got a plan to move forward. That's how you build successful football teams and clubs. So we should take it seriously. So for my money, we need 2 centre-backs, 2 central midfielders, and 2 strikers if we want to take all the competition seriously.
Okay.
I'd settle for, as a compromise, 1 centre-back, 1 centre midfielder, and 1 striker. Because my big fear is we just don't have the money. I don't think we've got the money at all.
Okay.
I think we've probably got somewhere in the region of 50 to 60 million pounds that we can actually lay out on players. And to a certain extent, that means the manager is shopping in quick save rather than Waitrose.
You happy with the fullback situation at the moment?
I'm not happy, but it's about priorities. I mean,
course.
fullbacks we know are the work rate that they've got to get through. The workload is immense. We're asking an awful lot of Aaron Cresswell on one flank. I think as a minimum, there's a question mark over Arthur's fitness longer term. But also, let's be honest, he can't defend. I mean, you may as well have me out there defensively. On the other flank, obviously, Soufal's done very well. Ryan Fredericks, I just don't think he's quite got the quality. Yes, you could say we've got Ben Johnson coming through and he could stick him on either flank, blah, blah, blah. But we are a little bit short there as well. But we're short everywhere. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, Chelsea at the weekend had 5 players not even on their bench who would go straight into our first team.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the difference. That's what we're chasing. Yeah. And we're not going to get there overnight if we ever do get there. But I think we are, if we want to take the European venture seriously, it's 6 players. If we settle for an early exit in the League Cup and the FA Cup, which I think would be a betrayal of our supporters, yeah, because our supporters pay the money at the gate. 60,000 have turned up tonight on a Monday night for a game that's on TV. National television.
Yep.
Yeah, that you can watch anywhere. You can stream it, you can pay your subscription, whatever it may be. 60,000 have rocked up to the London Stadium tonight. So we've seen the supporters do their bit. We've seen the manager do his bit. We've seen the players do their bit. The coaching staff do their bit. Can you see where I'm going with this yet?
Yeah.
Who's actually not delivering? And I'm afraid, Mr. Sullivan, find the money, because if you don't, if your only answer as the chairman of West Ham United is we've got to sell our very best player to invest in players 3 or 4 who aren't anywhere near as good as him, you can't have any credibility left as chairman of West Ham United Football Club. You have to say, my time is up. I need to sell and I need to go. And you just got to be honest with yourself at that and say, look, I can't compete in this league. There's no shame in that. There's no disgrace.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have the money, he should just say so. But the big thing, and I think this is what's really sticking the craw with many supporters, how does something in which he and his business partner have invested no more than 60 or 70 million pounds of their own money actually into the club, where does this valuation of 500 and 600 million pounds that he wants for his shares come from? I'd quite like the chairman to write a column in the match programme for next Saturday explaining why he feels another investor should spend all of their money, all of their capital, just making David Sullivan and David Gold even richer, as opposed to investing that money in West Ham United Football Club. How much is enough for Mr. Gold and Mr. Sullivan to have made a reasonable return on their investment and say that's enough and we'll go now? Yeah, because surely 600 million is way over the top.
Yeah.
200 million would be more than adequate profit on what they've put in. And I'd quite like to hear the chairman explain to supporters why he feels he and his business partner should walk away with a fortune when actually they've put relatively little into the club itself. I'd quite like to hear the chairman's thoughts on that.
We'll come back to that in just a second because we want to talk about PAI Capital before we go. But just hold that thought for a moment, Pinky, because I want to ask DL about the transfer situation. DL, Pinky thinks that we need 6 players, 2 centre halves, 2 central midfielders, and 2 forward strikers before the window. I think we're all. None of us are going to expect that sort of investment within the next 7 or 8 days. But let me put the same question to you. What do you think we need? What do you think we're likely to get before the 1st of September?
I'm on exactly the same page as Pinky, same position, same amount. We're not going to, there's no way we're going to get that. Yeah. And again, one of each. I wouldn't say happy with. That's probably not the right word. but I'd feel more comfortable if that's what we got in. Certainly need someone at centre back, but then, you know, we've had 2 dominant performances, and we have conceded 3 goals, which is a worry. And going back to repeat myself, there are 3 goals. Regardless of the fact, I get what Pinky said earlier about, you know, they shouldn't have been able to get the shot off the defences. You know, Fabianski shouldn't have made the save. But I think in all 3 goals that we've scored this season, he could have done better. And again, I'm not saying he should have saved them all. The one tonight, you know, any keeper that lets a goal through their legs needs to be looking at themselves. You know, you're like, oh yeah, he was a bit unlucky with the deflection, I know. But if he stayed on his line, he would have stayed that. But he had that little rush of blood. He's come running out. Same as against Newcastle. Their second goal, he was rooted to the spot. And even somebody like, I know he wasn't particularly good when he was here. Someone like Joe Hart, when he was at his peak, would have got down to that. Whether he would have saved it's another kettle of fish altogether. But he used to have the reactions of some of the quick reactions.
Yeah. And so you'd have Areola back in the starting 11 for Palace?
I think so. I think so. I know you shouldn't change a winning team.
Mm-hmm.
I know you shouldn't change a winning team, but we won it because I know it's an old cliche. We won it because we scored more goals than them. We're not going to be that lucky. We're going to come up against tighter defences, and that with this team at the moment, that is my only concern. Is the 3 goals, and I'm being picky. Yeah. I've got to be picky. We've scored 8 goals in 2 games, but if we hadn't, you know, we've conceded 3. You know, in teams gone by, we would have either drawn at Newcastle or lost maybe 2-1 or whatever. We're in a fortunate enough position. We've got goals from all over the pitch. Whereas I don't really think, I know people screaming, we need a striker, we need a striker. If we can get Lingard, I don't think we're going to need a striker because we done fine when Antonio was injured. Without a striker, the game's changed. I said that. Atalanta, the out-and-out striker per se is a dying breed. Because even Antonio's not an out-and-out striker. You'll see him out on the wing, on either wing, and you'll see him playing through the middle. He's to me, he's still not 100% number 9 out-and-out striker. Their days are gone. Look at last season with Vardy; he barely scored, and he's an out-and-out striker. The game's progressing. So I don't think, as much as some people, that getting this out striker is as important. 8 goals in 2 games tells you that. The thing that I think is important is shoring up that defence and centre midfield for if there is an injury to Rice, and to stop conceding the goals. You know, three goals in 2 games, taking away the goals scored, isn't great. You know what I mean? It's not great, and that's really my concern. We need a stronger defence. We can't have 7 players in a box and their player getting the shot off. And again, we need a keeper who's a bit more flexible and got quicker reactions than Fab. And that's not putting Fab down. And Fab's his age is catching up with him. Yeah, you know, it catches up with everybody, and he'd be a great keeper for somebody to say like now or Brighton or whatever. But I think that with our ascendancy and his, I won't say his descendancy because he's still a very good keeper. I think we've outgrown Fabianski, and this new chap, from what I saw of him last season, and again, it's only what I've read and stuff. You know, he seems to be a very good keeper, and seeing some of he's a lot more agile as well than Fabianski, which is what you need in a keeper. Fabianski's looking a bit stiff nowadays, so yeah, Areola. But other than that, nothing really needs changing. We just need a little bit of depth, and we'll be good.
Okay, so it looks like, you know, both the guys are suggesting we need 6 players, hoping we get 3. We've got just over a week to do that in. Interesting comment from Hobo there. I just put a message out on chat asking everyone watching to let us know who they think we need to bring in, what positions we need strengthening. And Hobo replies by saying the boardroom needs strengthening. Now, talking about strengthening the boardroom brings me nicely on to our next point, which is PAI Capital. Of course, in the last few weeks, none of you will have missed the fact that this consortium are looking to take control of West Ham, trying to buy out David Sullivan and David Gold, who I should just point out is taking absolute pelters on Twitter right now for simply suggesting that it was great to have the fans back in the stadium. Unfortunately, every time that David Gold seems to post on Twitter, it seems to receive just a slew of insults and responses saying things like, put your money in your pocket and buy some players, support the manager. But there you go. Go and have a look at David Gold's Twitter feed if you want to take a look at what's going on there right now. But yes, turning our attention briefly to PAI Capital. Of course, they've been pilloried, it's fair to say, I think, for their PR so far. Their entire PR campaign led by Dominic Mohan, formerly editor of The Sun, as we revealed on KUMB last week, has been a little bit messy so far. Their interest announced by former apprentice contestant Tom Skinner on Twitter. They then revealed that they'd brought West Ham legends Rio Ferdinand and Anton Ferdinand on board to support their bid. There was a rather bizarre interview on TalkSport last week by Philip Beard, in which I think it's fair to say he was absolutely torn apart by Simon Jordan, ex of Crystal Palace, Jim White's sidekick. Of course, we know about Jim White's allegiances to the current board, so I'm sure there was something going on there. And then, of course, we got the news in the last 48 hours that Tony Cottee was the latest West Ham legend, real legend at least, to be fair, on this occasion, to team up with PAI Capital. Now, Pinky, Tony did reveal that he wasn't being paid by PAI to support their bid, but did reveal that he was in line for a job if and when the takeover goes through. Apparently, they've promised him a role, at the club if that does succeed. But let's just roll back a little bit. PAI Capital. What's your view on everything that's happened so far in terms of their PR and their attempts to take over the club? We know that you think the money that's been asked by the board is quite ridiculous and more than it should be. But what's your view on PAI? What's your take on that whole situation so far?
Well, I mean, who are they really? I mean, what do you really know about them? Not very much. Is Azerbaijani money, wherever that is. I mean, how many of our supporters can find that country on a map? Not too many, I'd suggest. Doesn't mean it's a bad country or bad people, but actually it's another case of some weird and wonderful overseas owner looking to buy an English football club. And I'm not sure that I'm really comfortable with that. I think as well, the way they've gone about their business, I mean, the good bit is they've enlisted Philip Beard, who, however clumsily he comes across on TalkSport or wherever he's being interviewed, does at least understand the essential truth, which is the stadium needs resolving. The control of the stadium and what goes on and all the aspects around it need resolving. So he understands the essential truth around that. The problem we've got is it comes across as a little bit of being very comfortable in the corridors of power where those sorts of decisions get made. These quangos that the government have set up, and they can sit there and talk. People who you or I would never meet, that seem to get jobs that are paying hundreds of thousands of pounds a year for doing not an awful lot. And so there's a way that those things get done. But does that qualify him or anybody else in PAI Capital to run a football club that wants to progress towards, the upper ends of the Premier League, win a trophy, win back the hearts and minds of supporters and so forth? And my main concern with them is by just enlisting 2 or 3 former players, and I'm not going to start digging out former players because I don't think that really helps. But I just think, where is the executive competence that they can put forward and say, here is our proposed chief executive officer who will negotiate the transfer deals for any player that we're going to sign. And here is their CV with the experience that they could bring to the table in that role. So if you look at the very well-run clubs in the Premier League, they've all got CEOs or people that report to the money men who are competent and capable in doing those deals, which are multi-million pound deals in the transfer market in a way that satisfies the bean counters, but also satisfies the football managers. And if PAI really wanted to get the supporters on board, I suggest they need to start telling us about, well, who's actually going to run the club. You know, I mean, not being funny, you know, a 200 or 300 million pound business, who's going to run it?
Yeah.
What experience do they have? And don't in any way misinterpret this as me suggesting we're better off with who we've got.
Yeah.
You know, I want rid of who we've got, believe you me. Yeah. But I also want someone that actually says they have an interest in buying West Ham United to demonstrate some kind of executive competence. And because that's really where our problems are at West Ham. You know, we've got a vice chair that doesn't appear to contribute all that much. You know, where are the stadium naming rights deals? Where are the sponsorship deals?
Yeah.
They're not there. We've got a chairman who seems to do deals that see the club's finances so badly stretched that, you know, we end up getting accused by clubs like Eintracht Frankfurt that we can't pay our bills, which has hurt us in the transfer market. We've got another, you know, well, what is essentially a minority shareholder now that just seems to tweet, you know, don't go to bed and things like that, you know. So we know that what we've got currently is barely competent at that level. I think they've got many fine people reporting into them at a more junior level who work very hard for the club, and I'm not criticizing those people, okay? But if you've got PAI Capital coming in, where is their executive competence that can run a football club? That's a very different skill set to schmoozing the corridors of power of the LLDC and the London Assembly and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And that to me is a big question mark. Who's going to run the show?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good point, actually, because that hasn't really been addressed yet. I'm sure that PAI will say that they can't reveal anything due to NDAs, etc. But it's a very valid point. It's one thing putting the finance in, but you don't know who's going to be, as you say, running the show. DL, is it a property deal?
I think it's 100% a property deal. I don't think that, obviously I can only go what I've read in the media and whatnot else, and what they themselves have put on social media. I don't think they've got any interest in West Ham United FC as a football club. I see that they have interest in West Ham United FC as a cash cow for property investment. They give me the heebie-jeebies. From day one, there's just something about them I can't put my finger on. Everything so far just seems to be completely amateur. Says me, you know, sitting here from me computer chair with no experience of running a football club at all. But something doesn't sit right with me about this mob whatsoever. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong about it. And I'm always fair to put my hands up when I am wrong. But I suspect that we will be jumping out the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah.
These ones, their interest isn't what we can do on the pitch. Their interest is going to be the return on their investment from the Olympic Stadium, the lease, and the Olympic Park. And West Ham will just be a sideline to them, and they worry me. They worry me. They don't come across as football people. They come across as property developers, and you know, it's like, how can I put it? We're like the farm, let's say, that a massive developer wants, and he'll say, "Yeah, we'll keep growing the crops and stuff, and yeah, it doesn't matter." But then gradually, it reduces until the farm's just a little farmhouse with a little bit of ground around it and a bloody great big housing estate. And yeah, they don't fill me with confidence at all. They don't fill me with confidence. Pinky's right. Who is fronting this? You know, there isn't. They don't. So far, we've had Rio, Anton, Tony Cottee, Beard. Who's actually representing them? Who's properly speaking for them?
Yeah.
So far, I've not really seen anybody. Beard was on the radio and got absolutely ripped apart by Simon Jordan. It was an absolute car crash.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you listen to that interview? What did you make of it?
It was embarrassing. It was painful. It was cringeworthy. What I will say, it's just a shame that David Sullivan hasn't gone on to talk sport when Simon Jordan's been on there. But I don't think he'd have the bottle because he knows he'd get both barrels as well. Because I know that they're no fans of each other.
No.
And, you know, I read that, you know, on the forum, people were saying, "Oh, you know, wake up! You know, it was a setup. It's Jim White. It's you know, David Sullivan's mate kind of thing. Smell the coffee." Oh, sorry, I think that's a load of old rubbish.
Yeah.
The man just did not seem prepared, and at the end, you know, what's your message to West Ham fans? And he starts coming on about, "Oh, well, you know, the situation in Afghanistan." What?
Mm.
What's that got to do with it, mate? That was your chance at the very end of the interview to say something that make us go, "Actually, do you know what? Yeah, maybe you are in it for the right reason." And then he comes out with that flannel.
Yeah.
And just that one little thing for me was like, "Oh, you know what? You're not worth it. Go away."
Okay. I mean, that certainly seems to be the general consensus, doesn't it, so far? Most people seem to be sort of kind of surprised at how poor the PR is and their entire preparation for dealing with the, you know, that as I say, the PR side of the gig, which is obviously, you know, you've got to get the fans on side. And as they've found out, you know, it's not quite as simple as, you know, just enlisting the support of a couple of former players. And getting them on board and expecting West Ham fans to, you know, fawn over the possibility of, you know, replacing David Sullivan. Pinky, I think you wanted to come in there on that before we move on.
Getting the fans on side. No. I think that's what you do when you haven't got the folding.
Mm-hmm.
How much effort did Sheikh Mansour put into getting the Manchester City fans on side before he bought Manchester City?
Yeah.
Well, that would be none, would it?
Mm-hmm.
How much effort do you think Roman Abramovich put into getting the Chelsea supporters on side before he bought Chelsea Football Club? Well, that's none as well. So this idea that you've got to get the fans on board, personally, I think only stems from bids where there isn't very much money, where you can't fund buying players, where you can't go and actually say we'll go and spend 40, 50, 60, 70 million pounds on a footballer. And if you make a mistake, we'll do it again and again and again until we get it right.
Yeah.
So this getting the fans on board is almost a clue as to where we're really heading with all this.
Absolutely.
It's not as if, you know, and we've been through the razzle dazzle era already. You know, we can all see through razzle dazzle, and, you know, I'm not suggesting that any buyer has to be absolutely minted, but what they need to be is competent. You know, if you look at, you know, the lady that does the deals for the Russian at Chelsea, you know, Granovskaya or whatever his name is, she's been in her job for years, is very well respected in the world of football, and I suspect is hard as nails when she's negotiating on the Russians' money, but she will be operating a brief that says, we want this player, and this player, go get them. And she will structure the deals to make sure that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Clubs like ours that have to live a bit more modestly, you still need some executive competence. And, you know, we went out, we recruited from Arsenal a guy called Angus Kinnear for the transition period into the Olympic Stadium. Then we let him go, and he's popped up, you know, a year or so later as the CEO at Leeds United. So you look at someone like that, we've actually gone and got somebody who could do a job for the club, and we let them go to retain the services of Baroness Brady, and so David Sullivan can continue running the club like his own personal train set. And to me, what I want to see from PAI Capital more than anything is, even if they just gave us a structure, here's an organogram of how we think the club should be managed and what the responsibilities will be for each of those positions. Don't tell us who's going to do it at this stage. That might be confidential. But tell us how you would run the football club. Would there be an academy director? Would there be a performance standard director? Would there be a technical director? Would there be a player acquisition specialist? Whatever it may be. Put the structure there, show us an organogram and say, this is how we believe a modern football club should be organised and run and structured. Because I'm seeing nothing thus far that tells me they have any more ability to run a football club than any half a dozen posters you would pick off the KUMB forum.
Are we perhaps being a little bit unfair to PAI here? I mean, are we expecting them to be, you know, I'm not saying PR geniuses, but at least to, you know, have their PR in check when really all they're concerned about, perhaps they're not too worried about that side of things at the moment. Perhaps they're not being deliberately woolly because they haven't really sorted it out. Is it because perhaps that they are money men? They are, you know, they are concerned about the finances rather than the PR, and this is why they're coming across the way that they are. Are we perhaps as a fan base? So, DL, I'll let you answer this one first. If you are we being unfair on PAI?
I think you're being extremely generous. I think you're being extremely generous indeed. It's a multi-million-pound business transaction. Now, just to give a little example, is at the moment you've got Morrison's supermarket. They're in the process of being taken over, right? They've got bids for them. You don't see the chief executive of Morrison's coming out, or the chief executive of the bidder of Morrison's coming out, promising the world. He's not coming out trying to get, and this is what the way, you know, I suppose you've got to look at it, is that at the end of the day, to these people, we're not fans, we're customers.
Yeah.
We're the ones going to be bringing in the revenue. It's being played out publicly. Now, I heard the Sullivan interview, and I can't stand the man, and I'm going to feel dirty for saying this. I don't think in that interview, when he said about, you know, it's just a property deal, these aren't going to entertain it. I actually didn't see anything wrong in what he said. Now, if these people were credible, they would have let that right over their head and immediately not got into a public spat over what he said, they said. Yeah. They quietly go about their business and say, okay, Mr. Sullivan, behind closed doors and not in the public domain, say, okay, Mr. Sullivan, here is the colour of our money. Here is our proof of funds. Here's what we want to do with West Ham United Football Club. Because what I think they're doing is they are playing on West Ham. They're basically taking us for mugs.
Yeah. Because
they're playing on the fact that we do not like David Gold, David Sullivan, and Karen Brady. They're playing on that fact. And they're acting just like they do. They're acting like the GSB do. And that's the thing. And it's so amateurish. It's just tacky to me. It's completely tacky. Why play out in public? Why try and get the fans on side? Well, they'll get us on side if they show us the colour of their money, if they buy the club and they run it well.
I think their argument. Sorry, Dale, coming in there. I think their argument was that they never intended for this to play out in public. According to Philip Beard, it was only the fact that David Sullivan announced that they hadn't shown proof of funds, which, according to PAI, was not the case. That led them to coming out and speaking in public in the first place. Do you think that was a mistake then?
Of course it was. He didn't name who they were. He just said it was a bidder. You know, for all we know, Sullivan could have been lying that there was a bid in the first place. Yeah. So he's not come out and said Philip Beard and a consortium called PAI have come out and that there ain't money.
All right. Okay.
Nobody would have known who it was if they then hadn't stuck their head up and said, "Excuse me." They've used that as an opportunity to get themselves known. No, we can't say this, or we're not having a bad man. Well, sorry, mate, we didn't have a clue who it was anyway. You've just stuck your head above the parapet now, and no, it just reeks to me. Sorry, it just reeks. I'm GSBL, but not GSB out for anybody. That's not how I work.
Okay, good stuff. I should stress that wasn't necessary, as the great Brian Walden used to say. Oh, this is not necessarily my opinion, but just thought for the sake of playing devil's advocate, we should put that possibility out there. Pinky, finally on PAI Capital, before we move on, we're getting close to the end of the show. Time is pushing on. I appreciate everyone's got to get up in the morning. Is it not the case of better the devil you know in this situation?
Not necessarily. PAI have put themselves forward. They've said, look, they want to do some kind of a deal. We're told that they're coming back with a new improved bid and all the rest of it. Okay. But I would really like to see more of their plans before either damning them to hell or offering them any kind of a qualified endorsement, because they've gone public thus far. So tell us, as I said, I've made a suggestion there. Show us an organogram of how you think a club should be run, because the thing that most of us have got against GSB, once you move past the relatively emotive stuff of they sold our ground and it all smelt a bit funny, and then we're watching football behind a running track and all the rest of it. It's the fact that we're not run in any kind of conventional way. We've got a vice chair that shoots her mouth off in a paid-for national newspaper column that affects our ability to sign footballers. We've got a chairman that's doing deals because he loves doing deals, but they're never actually good deals, or hardly ever. But he fancies himself a bit of a chief scout. I mean, the all-time classic quote, one meeting I was in, when he told the supporters gathered that he had personally scouted Demba Ba, and that kind of thing. So could you ever imagine the person that does the deals at Arsenal Football Club or Chelsea or Manchester United saying they'd personally scouted a player? That's not their function. Their function is to structure a deal that gets an offer that gets the deal over the line. And really what I'd be looking for from PAI, now that they've let the cat out of the bag, is demonstrate to the supporters that you've got some kind of plan, some managerial and executive competence that you could say the supporters could trust us to run West Ham United Club better than both the current owners or anybody else. Because as much as you either like or don't like Tony Cottee, Rio and Anton, and we've all got different views on players and all the rest of it, with the best will in the world, as nice as they all are, they're not going to be running the football club day to day. And I know a lot of people might look at a club like, say, Ajax, where they've had former players go in there in senior roles in Ajax Football Club. I'm looking at Van der Sar and the other guy, whose name escapes me, used to play Mark Overmars, who have gone in senior executive roles at Ajax. The difference being they actually have demonstrated ability to do the job. And at that club, I think there's various checks and balances whereby if you go take a wrong steer, you get ejected. If you take someone like a Karl-Heinz Rummenigge to Bayern Munich, where he's in an executive role and that kind of thing, the clubs are structured differently to English football clubs. And to my money, I'd like to see PAI Capital demonstrate why or get us on board, not by saying, look, we've got Tony on board and Rio on board, but get us on board by proving their managerial and executive competence. Because if you look at the banners that supporters put up at games, run like a circus and all the rest of it, that's what the complaints from the supporters are about. It's the fact it's an absolute shambles, to the point of, never mind them offering Tony Cottee a job, I'm chucking my hat in the ring. I want to drive the team bus. There you go.
I'll do that. I've got a license.
Well, there you go. So Dyer's ahead of me on that one. How about I knock up a hell of a sandwich? I know on the team bus, they've got a really good sandwich. And maybe what I could bring to the party is I'll do the sarnies for the long bus journey home. but you get where I'm coming from. You know, someone look at me and say, well, no, we're probably looking at a qualified chef who understands nutrition and can actually do proper meal plans for the players and all the rest of it. That's about being competent in doing a role and doing a job. That's what you pay for. And I'm afraid PAI Capital have yet to demonstrate to the supporters, if it is them that are really the bidder, and they're not just a stalking horse, whereby once the deal is done, the stadium is sold off through one aspect, which is PAI Capital, then suddenly from the background, somebody else appears to buy the football club. And my own opinion is we're probably in that sort of zone, because PAI, based on what we've seen and heard so far, have shown no capability of running a football club that I can identify.
Yeah.
So they can't be serious about wanting the football club, can they?
Okay.
So, I mean, would you give a £200 million business to Rio, Anton, and Tony to run?
Well, maybe the social media side, but I'm not sure about the rest of it. But yeah, it's a very good point you make.
I like them all as players, and you know, and Rio's nailed his colours to the Man United mast very firmly.
Yeah.
Tony is solid West Ham, really. Yeah, and his spell at Everton and all the rest of it. And Tony's a nice guy, and blah blah blah. But ultimately, are they any more qualified to run West Ham United than you or I? That's really what I'm asking. And if they're being honest, they'd tell you they're not. So who is going to run it? And I think PAI Capital need to tell us who's going to do it.
Okay, so there you go. So PAI, that's what you need to do if you want to start getting the fans on board and behind your bid. Start giving us a bit more information. Philip Beard, of course, suggested that he couldn't do that at the moment because they were sworn to secrecy. I'm not sure why that would be the case, but we shall see in due course. Of course, not everyone believes that the current board are doing a bad job. Someone who certainly thinks they're doing a good job is Richard Wharton, who's joined us on the live chat tonight. And Richard believes that the board today delivered a top of the PL table team and refers to us as grumpy old men. And whatever next. Has he got a point though?
It's a point. It's a valid opinion. And we all know an opinion can't be wrong. And you know, one of the great things about KUMB and social media, you can express your opinion. People do, and we're never all going to agree on everything. And Richard's making a valid point there. We're top of the league, with Gold and Sullivan.
Absolutely, and of course, and this. But I think the point that especially Hammers United would make, and I don't, wish to speak on their behalf, but they will, of course, always tell you that the entire movement was never about the results. It's not about the fact that the team was playing badly. It was about the organisation and the people who run the club and, the history of what they've done over the years. And I'm sure everyone, Richard, is absolutely delighted, as grumpy as we may appear. Believe me, I can assure you we're all absolutely delighted at the way West Ham United have started this season. Couldn't be happier. But you can, as Pinky rightfully says, you're welcome to your opinion. That's what KUMB is all about. We are a broad church, but Knees Up Mother Brown always try to give everyone the opportunity to speak whatever.
Here's a little bomb for you to muse over. Here's a little bomb. We back the manager in this window. Then the next week, we bring in 4 reasonably quality players. Karen Brady announces that for the benefit of West Ham United Football Club, she's no longer going to write for The Sun. And David Gold and David Sullivan remove themselves from social media and don't give interviews and just let the manager get on with it. Then what do? Will it still be GSPL if we remain towards the top of the league for the rest of the season?
I mean, Dyers, if I'll give you my opinion, I'm firmly in the camp of the guilty must be punished, and I'm not a very forgiving person, and I'm afraid thousands of supporters have had their innocent pastime ruined by the decision that was taken by the current ownership to relocate the club. Now, they would argue they've done it to build a better future for the club long term, and that's their opinion, and that's what they've done. But I would argue, actually, it's come at such a price, and that price is it's ruined the afternoon, the Saturday, the Sunday afternoon for thousands upon thousands of people. And for me, that was a price that was too high, and I'll never get past the stadium issue. That's just my opinion. I'm just one supporter.
No, I get that. I don't like the stadium. I don't like the match day experience. I had the opportunity. I was offered a ticket for tonight. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go all the way to Stratford. I mean, it doesn't take long from here. It's just on the high speed. It doesn't take long at all.
No.
I couldn't be bothered. Now, I would have been more bothered to have gone to Upton Park if I was offered a ticket than I would have. It's a chore. That's the thing. Going to that ground is such a chore.
Just really basic things whereby, picture your scene, you're 85 years old, you've supported West Ham your whole life, and suddenly you've got a 3/4 of a mile walk or an hour queuing up to get a bus and all the rest of the palaver.
Yeah.
It's ruined it for too many supporters for me just to say, well, we're top of the league and we're doing this and we're doing that. I think the supporters came so far down the thought process of the relocation and the whole way it was done, the signing of NDAs, the secret squirrel stuff. They knew the supporters would hate it, which is why they kept it under wraps. And for that, there's deception, deceit. Are they too strong a word? I'm not so sure. But for that whole element, I'll never forgive them. And that's just me. And that's why I'd like to see them gone. The trust isn't there. And that's a great shame because here we are tonight. We are sitting top of the league. David Sullivan must be looking at and going, and still the supporters don't love me. And that's because, David, you turned us over, mate.
You've ripped the heart and soul out of a great football club. No, I mean, I was being a bit cheeky. I mean, I still can't forgive what they've done to the club. Again, like I just said, I never ever thought I'd envisage the day where I'd be offered a freebie to go and watch West Ham United, and I couldn't be bothered because of the match day experience and the location of the ground.
Yeah. And that, to be fair, that is. Sorry, Peter, I was going to say that is a common theme that you hear. It, some people will think it's all about results. It isn't all about results for a lot of people. It's the fact that they had, as Pinky so eruditely said there, it is about the fact that they had something they loved taken away from them. And if it had been for the good of everybody, I think a lot of people would have accepted that. But that isn't the way it's perceived by large sections of the fan base. And it's good if for you it is all about results, then great. As we said, it's everybody's entitled to their opinion, but you've also got to accept that some people feel it's more about just the results, and that West Ham United Football Club to them is more than just a result on a Saturday afternoon. It's family, it's history. It goes back 100 years. It's in here. It's part of you. It's not just about following a football team, and that's where I think a lot of people feel let down by the current administration. Final word on this, Pinky, before we move on.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, for us, change has got to come because we can't go on like this. We've seen a cracking game of football tonight where we've thrashed Leicester City, hot on the heels of thrashing Newcastle United and the prospect of Crystal Palace up next. These are happy days to be a Hammer. We're all going to go to work tomorrow, a foot taller, a bit of swagger. We will be hunting out the Arsenal fans, the Chelsea fans, the Tottenham fans, and we won't find them anywhere because they will be hiding. Okay. And just for once, we're going to be walking in going, West Ham, get some of that, yeah? And yet here we are talking yet again about ownership, the stadium, the lack of investment. that's why the change has got to come, because, you know, there's a saying in some organisations: if you can't change the people, change the people. And as far as our board of directors are concerned, we're at that point, and we've been there for some time now. And that's my last thing I'm going to say this evening on Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Gold, and Mrs. Brady.
Excellent. Okay. Good debate, chaps. This one's going to rumble on, of course. It's not going to go away. PAI Capital and their attempts to take control of West Ham United Football Club to buy out the current owners, and we shall see what happens. As I say, this one's going to rumble on, and I'm sure we'll be discussing it at length in future broadcasts. But anyway, we have been keeping you long enough. It's past 11 o'clock, and some of us have still got to go and write about the game once this is finished. So I'm going to have to push it on a little bit now. I'm going to end, as we always do, with a look ahead to the next game. Pinky's mentioned it there. Crystal Palace. Can it be 3 out of 3? This Saturday afternoon, I believe it is, isn't it? We play, yes, Saturday at Saturday at 3 o'clock. There's a blast from the past. DL, how do you see this one going?
I don't think we're going to hit them for 4, but I think we're going to win.
Okay.
Maybe 2-0. Maybe 2-0. First clean sheet of the season.
Our record against Palace recently isn't that great, is it?
No, but it used to be. Up until about up until about 3 seasons ago, we had a pretty good record against Palace. It's only relatively recently that it's not been too clever. Time to turn it around.
I mean, I say that we did win at their place, of course, earlier this year. We won 3-2, but prior to that, drew at our place, lost over there, lost at home, drew at Palace, drew at their place, and you've got to go back to actually December 2018, Pinky, for West Ham's last home win against Palace. Was that the one where Anderson scored that worldie? I think it might have been. We 1-0 down at half time, 1-3-2. But how do you see this one going? You confident for Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. And why wouldn't we be? Why wouldn't we be confident going into this game? You know, Crystal Palace, you got Patrick Vieira down there now. You know, big name in football, but not a big name in football management, that's for sure. I think they're a club that had an awful lot of players released at the end of last season. They haven't spent all that much. You know, now just spending lots of money doesn't get you anything. Ask Arsenal. You know, they're sitting second bottom, having spent what, £110 million net, something like that. So you know, Palace have spent about 40 million quid. They'll run around, they'll huff and they'll puff. But if we play anything like as well as we have had against Leicester tonight and Newcastle last week, we'll blow them away. I mean, we're being no doubt what we're going to see is Palace turning up trying to get a point. It will be 10 men behind the ball and, you know, lots of niggly tackles and all the rest of it. And Vieira saying, compete, win your own battle and all the rest of it. But I think if you look at the way we're playing at the minute, some really silky one-touch football, pass and move, getting players forward quickly, getting players back in numbers, the rock-solid pair of midfielders, Souček and Rice. You know, I mean, I probably couldn't name 3 Crystal Palace players. You know, and that's all. I say that just really to illustrate the gulf between expectations. A good season for Crystal Palace this year will be staying in this division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a good result for Crystal Palace this weekend will be getting a point at the London Stadium. For West Ham United, we'll be looking at Crystal Palace, and whilst you never take any game for granted, you're going to be saying, if you really want to be a top 6 club consistently, you have to beat Crystal Palace. It's not about drawing with them or anything like that. You have to go onto the field with a mindset that says, we are going to beat you today. It doesn't matter how much you run around. It doesn't matter how hard you try, your effort, your application, all those things were great levelers. You haven't got enough quality to see us off. And we've got more than enough in Benrahma and Antonio and Bowen and, dare I say it, from a set piece, a Dawson, a Souček. Yeah. we should have more than enough for Crystal Palace. And I see maybe not another 4 goals. I think that would be dreamland, but certainly a 2-goal margin win for West Ham at the weekend.
Love it. Love to see all the confidence. Great stuff. And why not? Why not? It's been a fantastic night for West Ham United Football Club. Smashed Leicester 4-1. Who would have predicted that before the game? In fact, I'm sure if you'd have predicted that and last week's result at Newcastle at the bookies, you'd probably be a fairly wealthy individual by now had you laid out on those two. But anyway, that's just about it from myself and the team tonight. Thank you to DL. Thank you to the Pink Palermo for sticking with us throughout the evening. Thank you also to Gnome for his sporadic appearances. Didn't have much luck with the Wi-Fi at the London Olympic Stadium tonight, but there you go. Some things never change. Thank you also to everybody for joining us here on the live stream. Been great reading your messages, having your company throughout the evening. And who knows? West Ham could still be top of the Premier League with another win this Saturday. That's where we are right now. First time it's happened since 2006. First time in 15 years that West Ham have ended a match day top of the pile. Of course, we're only 2 games in, but we couldn't have wished for a much better start, could we? It's been absolutely
fantastic. It was
fantastic.
the Great Escape season, somebody said as well.
What we were top?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check up to stats. They're having me on then in that case. But
no, it's true. We were top.
Were we?
Just went a little bit wrong.
Okay. I'll have to check back on that one. But anyway, tonight, West Ham United 4, Leicester 1. Pablo Fornals scoring in the 26th minute to give West Ham an early advantage. Jose Perez sent off 5 minutes ahead of the break before Said Benrahma made it 2. And Michail Antonio scored 2 goals at the end to make it a comprehensive victory for West Ham. And of course, it was Antonio's night, wasn't it? Not only did he score 2 goals, he became West Ham's leading goal scorer in the Premier League, going up to 49, eclipsing Paolo Di Canio's record. And who knows how many more he's going to score. But it's been a great evening for West Ham. It's been great fun having you on here for the stream tonight. And we look forward to seeing you again this week. Pinky, you'll be back at the game, I'm presuming, this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Good
yeah.
Stuff.
Good
stuff.
So Jarvo, thank you for the text that says maybe he should have my seat every week. I told him earlier in the day I'll do the jokes, and I'll be there Saturday.
Yeah, well, there was no joke at the Olympic Stadium tonight as West Ham trounced Leicester 4-1 to go top of the Premier League. It's been a great night for us Hammers. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you all again very soon. Till then,
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.